disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Totally fucking.
Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Then let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing.
Lobito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right, this is King Bucho. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. Very interesting episode. I hope it's a controversial episode because we have a very important question to ask, which is Jake Paul, is Triller boxing good for the sport? So I want to see what you guys have to say. We're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to open up StreamYard, and we're going to have a nice debate. I want to thank everybody in the chat. Pajda, Chris Cord, Wayne Hennessy, who has Blues Boxing, Christopher Roman, Chris K, as always, One Foot Out the Door, Iron Fist. Iron Fist says, great interview with Chris Bird, great champ and a great guy. Yeah, it was a great interview done by Mr. BDA. I think Mr. BDA is on the line. Mr. BDA, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, it wasn't just me. Jay was there a little bit there. Gonzalo, of course. Jimmy. But yeah, shout out. Glad you guys enjoyed it, man. It was fun.
That's right.
And shout out to Chris Bird, too, for joining us.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Chris Bird, who's making a comeback, from what I heard. Wish him the best. I'm just sending a few links over here. So yeah, people, the phone lines are open. You can see the number on your screen. I'm going to post the StreamYard link as well, so we can get this debate going. Oh yeah, let's mention the Gonzalo GoFundMe thing. Hold on. All right. So as you know, Gonzalo's kid is in a hospital right now, and the bills are accumulating. They're getting bigger because Gonzalo is right now living in the Philippines, so he's a veteran, U.S. veteran, but they don't cover overseas medical care. So he opened up a GoFundMe account, which I'm going to be posting in the chat. Please donate to Gonzalo. Don't donate super chats or anything. Donate to that account, because anyways, super chats, every time you guys send a super chat, I think YouTube takes 40% of that. You know what I mean? So if you send the money directly to Gonzalo's GoFundMe account, all the money goes to him. So make sure you donate to Gonzalo if you can. There's a link. I also posted the link in the description of this video. So yeah, it's for a good cause, people. All right, let's begin. Let's see what we have. Where are the phone lines? Phone lines. Where the fuck are the phone lines? Oh yeah, we got. Man, it's been a while since I've done a show. All right, we already have a phone call. We have a phone call.
All right.
Let's take a phone call. Hopefully it fucking works. 501, you're on the air. 501.
Hey, what's up, BDA?
Hey, what's up? This is Bucho today, but go ahead.
Butch, I can.
Yeah, man. With the Triller,
Uh-oh.
you know, that card, that was some crazy stuff, man. That was like boxing's already so corrupt and dirty, man, that you know, even though that card was raunchy and you know, a lot of it draws eyeballs to like the young kids and stuff like that. But boxing's already a dirty sport anyway, so I mean, at least there wasn't no corruption like that in the actual fights. But also, Oscar De La Hoya was funny as fuck. He was coked up and he was definitely smoking some weed and drinking some alcohol too.
Yeah, it was cringe. I mean, De La Hoya was out of it. He was yelling. Like Mr. BDA said a few days ago, it was sad because, you know, you had Al Burstein there. I mean, he's trying to do his job. I don't know if he understood where he was. I mean, he should have understood that, you know, this isn't a real boxing fight. I mean, they called him in to do commentate on the fight, but you know, I mean, he was trying to do his job seriously, and everybody next to him is drunk as fuck, high as fuck. It's like it was sad, man. But so I guess you don't think this is good for boxing, even though, you know, it might bring a new audience to the sport.
I would say it's probably like a fad more than anything, because it was like the red light district entertainment show or something like that, you know. And you know, it'll definitely, the young kids, the Jake Paul and YouTube fans and stuff like that are gonna tune in when, you know, Jake Paul fights. But eventually he's gonna have to fight an actual boxer. You know, I mean, people are gonna get tired of seeing him fight non-boxers. We want to see what he can do against an actual professional boxer.
Right, because if this keeps going, I mean, he keeps knocking these guys out. You know, at some point, people are going to demand, you know, for a real fight. I mean, you can only push this thing for so long. So that's a good point. You know, that's a very good point. So you think this is going to end soon? Because you said it's a fad. So you think it's not gonna last long?
It depends what they do on the business side. You know, what kind of fights they can make, what kind of fighters they can sign. Like the next card they got with Tiafimo and Cambosis, that's a more real professional, you know, world championship matchup right there. So that's going to get more of the real boxing fans. So it depends on if they can do maybe both, like the freak show type fights, the YouTube type fights, and actual, you know, world championship level fights. What kind of matchups they can get, you know, what kind of money is being really invested into it.
All right. Good point. Well, thank you for calling. Call back again next time, all right?
All right, thanks, man. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good call. Good points, though. I mean, this might be like a short-term thing. People are already thinking that this is going to last for years. It might not. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, I mean, it wasn't even comparable to what we saw in terms of money generated. But there used to be like the celebrity boxing TV show on Fox. I think it was on Fox. Must have been on Fox because they were the ones that were always like coming up with crappy ass fucking shows. I think they're the ones who came up with the Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire, and that was a fucking shit show. I mean, anyways, so they had this show called Celebrity Boxing, and it wasn't even boxing, and it wasn't even celebrities, but because they were like C-class celebrities, washed up. I mean, I think they had Pauly Shore there. I don't know. You get the point. And that didn't last long, you know. So maybe it's gonna be the same thing with this. Like the caller said, I mean, do actually people want to keep watching Jake Paul knock out these guys basically these fights aren't competitive. So are people gonna get fed up with that crap? Are people gonna get also with Mike Tyson, like fighting Roy Jones, and what he's gonna fight eventually Holyfield? Like that's just gonna like become boring. I mean, let's be honest. The Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson fight, yeah, that wasn't even exciting. Now a lot of people tuned in because nobody knew what they were gonna expect. It was something new, and people were watching. But now we saw now we saw the event, and it was boring. The whole thing was boring. I mean, we respect Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, but come on, guys, that fight was boring as hell. So, like, is anybody gonna get excited for Tyson against Holyfield? It's gonna be what, 4 rounds of clinching? Might be the same thing.
20 years ago, or more than that, maybe 25 years ago.
Hey,
What about
would you guys
25 years
prefer
ago?
to see these?
Go ahead.
What would you guys prefer to see? These legends fighting way past their primes, or women fighting?
Good question.
No, guys, no, I'd rather watch Tyson Jones in their 50s.
I don't want to offend. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, I'm not offending. I mean, you're not offending neither. It's your opinion, right? And it's like,
I'd rather watch the old men fight each other.
Yeah, but you know what? So though, Bucho, sometimes opinions can hurt. Like I remember do you remember that party and you kept bringing up the 6 million and how that wasn't true? Can't be 6 million, can it? Like, all right, Bucho, this isn't the time or the place, man. Come on now.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, Bucho, I was out of line, bro.
A little bit, yeah. But I was gonna say though, I was over at the Mark's channel. We were talking about that. Apparently, I brought up the fact that somebody put up on the Discord that they actually did pretty good numbers, man. They did pretty good numbers according to the reports because the pay-per-view was $50 a pop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that means that they must have had pretty. I think they said something in the millions, 20 million,
75 million, something like that. 75 million generated. Jake Paul claims that
the Jake Paul. Yeah, you see, that's a good idea because you see, Jake Paul has a following on YouTube, social media, right? So you charge $50. Okay, you lower the price, but more people will be inspired to say, all right, I'll spend $50 on this fight, and that can generate you get more people interested in buying it than it normally if they would have sold it for like $75 or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's just simple math. That's all. You sell it for cheaper.
And who's the demographics? I mean, a lot of these are kids, 14, 15.
Kids, yeah.
So, I mean, are they going to like spend $75 on a fight? I mean, they probably got their parents' money to buy this shit. So,
of course,
I mean, it makes sense. Also, apparently Jake Paul got like almost $700,000, but based on the amount of pay-per-views that they made, so he's going to get 20 times that. That's what I read on the Zone on their website.
So like 14 million, maybe.
I think they said like 10. Yeah, something like that. So
10 to 15 million, something like that. I mean, that's a lot of fucking money, bro.
That's what he says.
For a novice boxer, you know what I'm saying? A guy who's just a novice and just going in there. Like, I think the kid could fight. I think he knows how to box, bro. He's been doing, the basics. When I say he knows how to box, he knows the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Put him in there with a guy who doesn't know how to strike.
And who's smaller.
Yeah. And smaller, because I'm looking at this Jake Paul kid, and I'm like, this kid's got to be 6 feet, close to 200 pounds.
He's 190. Yeah, he is. He's a cruiserweight.
He's 190. Yeah,
Hitler would have been proud, man. Hitler would have been proud.
Yeah,
that's true.
He's an SS officer there.
Yeah.
But guys, what do you think about like what the caller? I don't know if you heard the last caller who mentioned that this is a fad. Is gonna die down eventually.
Die out.
Yeah, die out. What do you think?
But he's gonna make a lot of money. He's gonna make a lot of money while he's doing it, right? I would like to see him fight a pretty like low level fighter like Marcellus Wallace. Put him in there with Marcellus Wallace. See what happens.
Yo, man!
I will put money. I will put money on Marcellus to beat him.
I don't know. all I saw from Marcel was him getting knocked out. So it's like I don't know if he can actually box.
Listen. Well, what do you think will happen with Jake Paul if you put him in there with professional boxers?
I mean, yeah, but there's professional boxer. I mean, you can have a very bad professional boxer, a very good one. You know, I mean, where does Marcellus Wilder?
Let's say he starts fighting C and D level fighters.
Like they said,
you don't think one of them
Chavez Jr.
You don't think one of them will clip him up?
What about Chavez Jr.?
Chavez Jr. would beat him. Chavez Jr. would beat him.
That's what I think, though. But
yeah.
Yeah, Bucho told me that a couple earlier. He says, "Hey, don't you think Chavez Jr.?" And I actually hesitated. That's how bad I think. But you know why? It's not because I think. But you know what? It's because of the work ethic. If Chavez Jr. just shows up there and refuses to throw shots, and maybe this dude could outwork him. But like like Breck and I said, this Aryan dude, he knows how to throw shots. He, the basics. But how does he react when he gets hit? When he gets pushed back? Does he have the stamina? Because it's good. It's all good and nice and dandy when you're fresh, but by the second, third round, if your legs are getting spent, I mean, look, we saw it with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's been fighting for a while, but he's essentially an amateur, and he has decent technique. But then, as soon as he got tired within 3-4 rounds, that was it, man. Everything fell apart.
When somebody started making when somebody started putting stress on his legs, we saw him fall apart. Right now, him on a higher level than a Jake Paul, obviously, right? Deontay Wilder's on a much higher level than somebody like that. But it's an excellent point, BDA, that,
I know it's a good point.
When you make a... I'm sorry, man. Sorry. I didn't mean, of course it was. But once he started putting stress on his legs, because he's not a boxing fundamental guy, he fell apart. So that's what I'm saying. I want to see somebody put some type of stress on Jake Paul, a low-level boxer, and see how Jake Paul reacts. If Jake Paul could get out of that and win, I'm like, okay, damn, this guy's for real about this craft he decided to pick up.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You guys brought up the good point about the fat aspect, because I want to get into the financial aspect afterwards, because this is an interesting phenomenon we're having here right now in boxing. So I think, especially this Saturday, it's Navarrete versus El Pitufo Diaz. It's not really the biggest fight in the world, so I suppose it's as good a time as any to talk about this. But I wanted to ask you guys, because you mentioned that this could be a fad. Is this all right now? Is this all dependent on this Jake Paul character? Because, okay, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, okay, but can you actually replicate that? Like, if Mike Tyson fights Kevin McBride or somebody, it won't work, right? So is it dependent right now on Jake Paul? And what happens if he loses? Does it become like a Ronda Rousey thing for female MMA, where if she loses, boom, it's back into the dark ages?
Yeah, back to the dark ages.
The dark ages. Well, listen, first of all, this isn't just... You're not paying for a fight. Because from what I noticed, you're paying for an event. I mean, they had those guys that slap each other. I don't know what the fuck that shit's called. And they had like Ric Flair there as the referee. I want to thank Chris K for his contribution. He says De La Hoya versus Benavides is a snort off. yeah. Who sniffs the biggest fucking line? But thank you, Chris. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So, anyways, you're paying for an event with Triller. You're not paying for a fight. You're paying for like the slapping contest. You get a fucking shitty ass concert with singers, and then you get Snoop Dogg, De La Hoya high as fuck. You get these freak show fights like the one we saw, like the one Stu mentioned, Cunningham versus Frank Mir. What a shit fight. I mean, what was that about? It reminded me of like the old UFCs or like a Pride Fighting Championship event where sometimes you had like a 7-foot tall giant against a fat guy. It was a weird fight. But anyways, my point is, this is what you get with Triller. You don't get a fight, you get an event. And this is what they're going to keep on doing, guys. And Holyfield, he's going to be just part of that event. He's not going to be the main event. He's not going to be the only reason why people are tuning in. He's just going to be part of that freak show, man, the circus. We have Stu on the line. Stu, what's up, man? Your thoughts?
What card are you talking about? The Jake
Well,
Paul
just the whole event. What do you think about this? Is this good for boxing, or your thoughts?
Well, to be fair, I mean, has it really harmed boxing? I mean, boxing's bottom of the barrel anyway. If we get any lower, we'll be in the pits of hell. So it can't get any lower. And look, It is what it is. The guy's a multi-millionaire kid that's got everything he wants. Yeah, he shows more determination and dedication to this sport than most of these American fighters. I'm telling you that now. So what that guy gets up in the morning with his silk pajamas on, and obviously he's learnt the game. He's not a bad fighter, you know. And some of the things he was doing was quite good, and then he can fucking whack. All right, he's not a pro boxer, but these clowns in the fucking chat, whiny little boxing fans, they want Jake Paul to get in there with Tyson Fury and Joshua. I don't.
Okay,
You know,
okay,
and
but
it's just,
so what do you want? You want him to just keep fighting this type, like these wrestling guys that are washed up? What's the point?
the guy is a YouTuber. You know, this is not a professional fight we're talking about. I mean, where does it stop? Who do you want him to go in with? Should we stick
Well,
him
that's
in
a
there with
question.
Viterbian?
Okay, so
I mean, look, yeah, I get what you're saying. But it's like Mayweather. Mayweather's a legend of the sport. Yeah, he wants to fight she-boys from Thailand and wrestlers and YouTubers.
what is she?
Did he say
So
she-bones?
this is where we are. This is
Did
where
he
we
say
are with the
she-bones
sport.
or she-males?
And look, we had Steve Cunningham. I mean, and he made Frank Mir look like a world beater last night or the other night. I mean, you know, this is where we are with boxing. I mean, boxing just
I didn't even know he fought. I didn't even know he had a fight.
Who?
Alexander.
He fought Frank Mir, didn't he?
Cunningham, Steve Cunningham.
Yeah,
Cunningham. Excuse me.
yeah, he
Yeah.
fought Frank Mir. It was absolutely dreadful. I mean,
Frank Mir won. Did Frank Mir won?
I tell you what, right?
No.
You don't need Guantanamo Bay if you want to get things out of terrorists. Just show them Cunningham, Frank Mir, and they'll tell you everything you want to hear. I mean,
Hey, what was the point of that fight? Seriously, what was the point?
Well,
Like,
I don't know. I mean, Oscar, I had to turn the telly down. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya sounded like Cheech and Chong on crack. I mean, what the fuck was wrong with that?
Wait.
What the fuck was wrong with that guy, man?
Listen to this.
It was dreadful all around. It was just a dreadful card, a dreadful watch.
All right, hold on. I have a clip here.
While
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
look it up, can I just say thanks for the super chats? Please, if you can, donate directly to Gonzalo's GoFundMe page. That way, everything goes to him directly. Because if you donate to YouTube, it becomes a pain in the ass where we have to give it to him, and YouTube takes a cut. So if you donate directly to GoFundMe, there's no middleman. They're not gonna take a cut. So every cent counts. So please appreciate it, but please, it's better if you go do it on Gonzalo's GoFundMe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Gonzalo has a GoFundMe account, right? So you give money to his account. So don't start super chatting like to Gonzalo, only in the hopes that somebody gives it to Gonzalo. So yeah, the link is in the chat, guys.
I mean, what we saw, sorry to change the subject. What we saw the other night was how bad a lot of MMA fighters are when it comes to throwing hand. And this is the problem. I mean, a lot of MMA fighters are just guys that are just not good enough to box, so they decide to get into MMA instead, where they can hold their own with their hands a little bit. All right, MMA is a hard sport to learn because you've got to learn different trades, but when it comes to boxing, I mean, just shows you how bad some of these MMA fighters are. When a guy that's like Ben Askren's no mug either, he's got a good record in them, you know. And look what happened to him. He, one shot, he's fucking sleeping. Well,
yeah, what does that tell you, Stu? Because I mean, he lost against a YouTuber in boxing, obviously. What does that tell you? Yeah,
embarrassing, mate. The boxers just don't. MMA fighters just don't spend enough time in a boxing ring learning the sweet science. I mean, that is a major important thing to look at. The Nigerian guy, what's his name, who just beat Miocic? I can't remember his name. The guy's just a big lump that just throws his hands and he's going for it. Yeah, Nagano's basically an average boxer. Yeah, he hits these guys on the chin. They're fucking sleeping for a week. I mean, these guys have got no boxing skill. And he looks like a world beater in there. I mean, and they're talking about this guy fighting. Who is it? They want to fight. Dillian White would end that guy in a boxing ring quickly.
Yeah, he'll kill him, man. That guy got heavy hands, but
yeah.
Listen, before he touches White will hit him and he'll be knocked out before he even touches him.
Yeah. But going back to what Stu said, you know, like even Conor McGregor, who's like maybe one of the best strikers in UFC in MMA. He looked like an amateur against Floyd. He looked extremely bad. The way he threw the punches, he was squared up sometimes. It was just it was bad. So, what do you think is going to happen with? Yeah, go ahead.
People laughed at me when I said Josh Kelly would knock Conor McGregor the fuck out. That's where the level Conor is. Josh Kelly would knock Conor McGregor the fuck out and do it quickly. Conor Ben would end his fucking. That's where he is, and he wants to fight Pacquiao. People like that. Get out of here, man.
All right, Renegan in the chat says Conor is not the best striker in MMA. Well, he's one of the best, no? I mean, that's what I heard. I mean, I don't know. People who watch MMA more than me can let me know, but that's what the consensus was from what I understood. He's one of the best strikers.
For that style of fighting, for that style of martial arts, he seems decent. I don't know the MMA like that to say he's the best, but he seems pretty decent. I saw him fight what's the Spanish kid over in New York, I believe. He fought him, and he looked like he had hands. No. Maybe it was him, Stu. I don't remember.
Eddie Alvarez.
Alvarez, there you go. Alvarez, that guy. He fought him in New York, and I remember watching the event, and I said, "Damn, like he's got pretty good hands for that style of fighting."
Yep. I mean, yeah, he was knocking everybody out. Most guys out. So his striking must have been pretty impressive.
Put him in there against make him and Jake Paul fight. That would be a nice.
That's what they're talking about. That's the rumor that's going around. Jimmy, what's up?
What's going on, man?
What's up? We're just talking about the Triller event.
Jake Paul fight. What's up? Yeah, Jake Paul fight. My thing is this. Listen, I don't even want to give my opinion on it because really, what does it matter? Because I mean, I'm pretty much going to echo everything you guys would probably have said. But my thing is this: where does it go? And what I mean by that is Jake Paul. He's taking listen, he's a rich kid. He's taking his YouTube stardom and he's doing celebrity fights in a kind of weird way. What's giving it any kind of legitimacy is getting real boxers to fight under the same card. It's on them to avoid that, and then it would just be this what it is, a celebrity show. But here's the fucking nuance. How many professional boxing training camps does a dude have to go through before he's a real boxer? Meaning, like, you go through 3 or 4 of those fucking things, 8-week camps, he's paying for training, he's a rich kid, he's going all out. Now it's, the sanctioned body's really going to, right, dude? Like, I mean, at what point? And now you're a professional boxer. Like yeah, right? Now you're going through full 8-week training camps, hitting the pads, living the life as a boxer. Now at what point does it become beating up a fat dude who was there for a paycheck because he thought it was a fucking circus show too? Obviously, the Vicky came in. It was a joke. He was there for a payday.
Let me expand on that a little bit, Jimmy.
Yes.
Understand something. If you make it through one boxing training camp, if you make it through one, you're already past one level of being a boxer. Meaning you go in the ring, you box, you do it again, you do that same training camp, and you do the same thing again. Dude, that builds experience. After a while, you need to be fighting somebody who at least has experience like you.
Then a sanctioned body needs to step in. Now, if you try to pull in one of these circus shows that are fucking now, does it at some point? Does the athletics? They like say it's held in Nevada. They say, wait a minute, dude. You've been going through professional training camps, dude. You're having fights. You're going in there, no headgear. You're making money, so you're a professional. If you're, you know what I mean. So that's what separates them from an amateur. So at what point now? You're just like anybody else, but the only difference you of any other 4 or 5 professional fight guy, you've had no, amateur experience, although he's supposedly hired like the best nutritionists, trainers. He's got all kinds of dudes involved. How come, I think, honestly, you want to continue now? You say listen, after you knock out this fat little fucking squishy dude who was a wrestler who never could throw a punch anyways, and you pump your fist like it's a shotgun, he grabs his forearm, click, click, like it's a shotgun. He's holding up, then he's on a fucking rope screaming like
he was crying. Jimmy, he was crying.
Yeah, so obviously, dude, in his fucking mind, this is it. He's a boxer, he's pumping. All right, then, that kid Fury, about 5-6 fights. They can get the same weight. What are you doing? This is another boxer, not much more. I mean, he has the amateur experience, but he hasn't even had the professional probably level. Well, probably because his brother. But now he needs to step up now. You want to play this game, dude, then play it for real. Take on a fucking dude who's got 4 fights, 5 fights. You want to be a boxer? Are you going to play it or fucking not? No halfway gangster.
Me and Bucho was suggesting me and Bucho was suggesting why not fight like Marcellus Wallace or Chavez Jr.
Well, Chavez Jr. would be unfair. Chavez would kill him. But you believe it or not, would
Yeah, I
kill him.
think so too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just believe. Yeah, that
But what
tells you a
about?
lot right
I
there.
think
But
Wallace.
no, I would think like Fury's brother. They've been having a thing, right? They've been rapping at each other online. Same type of weight class. You know, Fury's got what,
Tyson
5 or
Fury
6
has a
fights?
brother that's a
Younger
Tyson Fury.
brother.
Hey,
Yeah, it
but
doesn't look like he's
guys,
in a
did you
circus
hear?
either.
Did you guys hear what Jake Paul said after the fight? Because he's hanging out with Michael Hunter now, and he was saying, "Yeah, I have a plan. I'll fight Fury's brother, and then Fury can fight Hunter in the undercard." And it's like, are you fucking serious? You think Tyson Fury is gonna fight in your undercard against Hunter when
Why
he's
would he
planning?
do that? Yeah.
When he can.
Wow, I'm sorry. That's fucked up. That he actually thought that the world champion, the heavyweight world champion, should take second bill to him. Like, wow, he's delusional in that capacity. But yeah, no, he needs to fight. And what this whole thing will end the minute he takes. Listen, the minute he goes to hell, either gets knocked out or gets beat up in the ring, right? And then all of a sudden YouTube turns on all those little 17-year-olds who are fucking grabbing their mom's credit card out of no one and ordering this garbage. I'm gonna call them out. You know what I mean? They'll turn on them, dude. The problem is the faster you rise in something, the harder you fall, the faster you come down. So,
well, Jimmy, we had a caller earlier who said that this is a fad and this is gonna die pretty quickly. What do you think?
well, it's also an indictment on these assholes that we call professionals now. You know what I mean? It's all, if they were doing their fucking job, it wouldn't even be. Listen, there was celebrity boxing matches back in the 90s. The reason why boxing people didn't even know about them because we had enough to keep our interest. Like that narrative and that weirdo shit wouldn't even have creeped into it. It's because they left the door open. The same reason why all these fucking geriatric dudes are running in to get theirs. Because these imbeciles have left a void. Like Charlo, somebody sent me a thing today. Like Charlo said, he's actually on with Stephen A. Smith, an ESPN thing. They sent me the interview. Like the disconnect, the lack of self-awareness. Oh, we need to fight the best. But then he actually says, how many times I said this? You blame Floyd. Floyd showed us that we've learned the business end. You fucking no more just running out and fighting. It's about money.
So no more
God,
doing
was actually
what the
saying that.
sport. No more
Exactly.
doing what the sport entails.
Exactly, dude. And Stephen Smith tried to save his ass, dude.
To prove that you're the best, you fight the best fighters.
That's what he said. And he was actually saying that. And he was blaming Canelo and everybody else. It's like, wait a minute, dude. You're blaming the dudes who are fighting Triple G twice. He's going around fighting champions. And you're saying it's him that this is not sinking in as you're fighting on this kid, Juan Montel. I mean, to put it in perspective, dude, that dude, the biggest walk through Charlo ever had in his career was that fucking kid, Hugo Centeno. 2 rounds, just like walked through him like a hot knife through butter, right? That dude he's about to fight went life and death to a split draw with him last year. That dude got knocked out by Mogambi. This kid, it's such a joke fight, dude. And for him to be on a podcast with Stephen Smith saying this ridiculous shit, but he pointed it out, dude. It is. They're following, and then Stephen Smith, dude, try to save him. So let me interrupt you. So what you're saying is you're taking, but so many fighters today are using the Floyd model, but they're not actually fighting the fights, right? And that asshole actually goes, "Oh yeah, exactly." I'm like, "Oh, you fuck."
All right, but guys, is this
exactly? Exactly. I would have been like, "You mean you, right? Like you don't fight the fights that."
Yeah, Charlie goes exactly. What a dick.
But guys, can there be a positive out of this? I mean, can maybe boxing can get new.
I heard
new fans. I mean, it's a blend. Yes, you have the freak show main event, but then you had the Prograis in the undercard. Teofimo's gonna fight eventually. Is this a way of could this be a way for younger fans to be introduced to the sport of boxing?
But it's gonna be introduced in the wrong way. Okay, I heard that this Triller thing had like a concert. There was like girls there, like they were almost half naked. Whatever. So what are you really selling? You're not selling product, right? You're not selling in terms of boxing, you're not really selling the sport. What you're selling is entertainment and then these kind of like rigged fights where one guy is a boxer, the other guy is not. And it's not a good. To me, it's not a good look, right? Because basically, it's just boxing at its worst. You know, when the main event is two guys who are non-boxers. So I don't know what the deal. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the Triller thing. I didn't pay for it, obviously. And so all I know is what people were telling me.
Well, Jimmy, what do you think? Like, do you think that this is a good way for younger kids to get some exposure?
All right. I gave that some thought too. My thing is, obviously, there are going to be some kids who will never have watched a boxing match if it wasn't for this. Will they get all of a sudden like, wow, man, that's cool. Wow, somebody got knocked out. Will they get sucked into the excitement of someone being knocked out? If that brings 20 kids, great. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I'm sitting there. I'm like, I can't always be cynical and sinister about everything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be. So I'm like, I got to find if there's a plus in it, I guarantee there's some kids who got fucking that animalistic charge in their gut. You know what I mean? You know that thing you get when somebody gets sparked? Yeah. And so who knows? Maybe it turns some kids on the fans, turns the right kids on the fans. You know, it's not always just fans. It's the right fans. The fans will buy pay-per-views. You know, and it's just now it's up to the fucking boxing to keep them. That's the problem.
Yeah, good point. Maybe boxing is just getting with the times. You know, this is the new model. No, I don't know. We'll see. H-Mon, are you there?
Yes. What's going on? King Bucho, BDA Boxing, Recognize the Matrix, and Jimmy. How the brothers doing?
Pretty good, man. How are you, man? Give us your thoughts, man.
H-Money.
Yes. What's up, Recognize? Saturday night, I think it was exciting, though, Bucho. I mean, it wasn't your ordinary type of boxing event, but at the end of the day, I believe it was a success because Jake Paul, according to him and some reports, did 1.3 million pay-per-view buys and he generated $65 million. Now, he knocked out Ben Askren, who's a former undefeated fighter on mixed martial arts, who's a real fighter. Some people say, oh, you beat up a basketball player. He wasn't a fighter. He never fought before. But then he goes in there, knocks out a former UFC fighter. You know, I think he does deserve some credit. You know, he is bringing some excitement. I think Triller is doing a great job. They have Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos June 5th. And I think it's building up. And this might be the future of how you put on boxing events. It might be the future, to be honest with you.
Guys, what do you think?
Hey, H-Money. I get what you're saying, right? And you might be right. I mean, they might be the future of boxing, and as long as they put on good fights, I think anybody would buy into that. Now, would you want to see Paul, right? Jake Paul, right? I think that's his name. Would you like to see him fight a real boxer? A real fighter, even if he's like in the lower level or one of these guys that are, you know, on the lower end of their career?
I mean, I would, but it depends on who it is. Now, he's into making big fights. Now, he wants to fight somebody with a big following. Now, Ben Askren was a star in the UFC. That's why he fought him. So I'm thinking he probably looked to fight Dylan Dennis. Dylan Dennis, who is Conor McGregor's, but one of Conor McGregor's best friends. Dylan Dennis, who's a mixed martial arts fighter, and he's best friends with Conor McGregor. I think he's looking for that fight. He keeps calling out Dylan Dennis. He really wants Conor McGregor, to be honest with you. Now, Conor McGregor, he fought Floyd Mayweather, who's one of the greatest fighters of all time. So if you're willing to fight one of the greatest boxers in Floyd Mayweather, but you're ducking a YouTuber, I think Conor McGregor is avoiding Jake Paul, and I think Jake Paul would knock out Conor McGregor. To be honest with you.
Yo,
being real.
Hey, but imagine you're Conor McGregor and you get knocked out or you lose to Jake Paul. That would be an embarrassment.
But listen, I appreciate H-Money's positive. You know, he seems to be a very positive kid. No matter what, if it's boxing related, he likes it. So at least he's got the right attitude. He's positive for boxing. I don't agree with some of the points about whether how much of an impact it'll have on the sport. I don't see the sport going that way because the pay-per-view model in itself is a dying in because of the app. Because it's a lot of people, listen, if they sold 1.2 million, that means 1.2 million were illegally grabbed. watched, and that's a huge issue. It's always been a huge issue from the day of the black boxes, and so then eventually we go to a pay app where you'll have to pay because they can secure it. That way, people won't be able to steal it. But the thing about Askren, I have to disagree with this point. I think that 1.2 million, if that's really what it did, I have no reason to doubt it. That's all Jake Paul's people. Listen, Askren wasn't a very popular person. He was semi-retired from the UFC, and he had a very, very boring style because he was a collegiate wrestler. So it was that type of thing. So he had just those ground and pound, grappler type fans. You know what I mean? I don't really see. I think they knew what he would do in a boxing match because he was a horrible stand-up fighter. That's why he always tried to bring it to the ground. I mean, Dinner Corner, somebody knocked him out. George knocked him out with a knee to the head. He just he's not a fighter like that. He's a wrestler, collegiate wrestler. So I think if it did those numbers, it was all Jake Paul.
Absolutely. Definitely. And it was yeah, go ahead.
But the thing is, it's like when you cross over boxing with UFC, I think it makes it more interesting. Now, it was a lot, I believe, UFC fans or mixed martial art fans that also tuned in to watch this.
Yeah, Joe Rogan was watching it. And I'm pretty sure I know who he was rooting for. But guys, let's take a phone call just quickly. 954, you're on the air. 954. Jeez.
Hey guys, I couldn't get onto Discord, so I thought I'd call in.
Oh man, how did I send you a link? I didn't send you. Okay, I'll send you a link.
Okay. Well,
right.
Yeah. I'll give my two
okay, go ahead.
Get on the panel then. I'll call you. I'll see you guys. Talk to you.
All
later.
right. That is confusing. I'll send him a link. I forgot to send him a link. All right. Go ahead. Whoever was going to say something.
So that was Jay, right? I believe that was Jay.
Yes, sir. That was Jay.
Okay. But now in the future, Triller, they have a big fight coming up with Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos. Evander Holyfield is on the undercard. I want to get the brothers' thoughts on the panel. Do you think this will be a successful pay-per-view event?
Wait, what's the main event that night?
Oh, it's Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos.
Oh, okay. So that's the main event. Well, I want to see the undercard, though.
I mean,
yeah.
No, I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be nowhere near as successful as the Jake Paul thing because you're not going to be bringing. Because if it's actual fighters, then you're depending on the paying boxing public, and the paying boxing public is not pumped for this fight.
Jimmy, they have Holyfield in the undercard. They have Holyfield.
Teofimo fans are pumped for him for his money he made, but I don't know anybody who's pumped for this fight.
Jimmy, they have Evander Holyfield against Peter McNeil. Not Peter McNeely. McBride. Kevin McBride.
He's a doorman. Yeah, Peter McBride. I mean, seriously, he's fucking got a heart condition. He's on diabetic medication. What the fuck? How are they even getting sanctioned? I don't even think they're getting sanctioned. I mean, you would have to get sanctioned. They would have to have stress tests. They would need to see, medical reports. I don't know. To me, it's the older guys see the void in the sport. They see the younger boys ain't carrying a torch, so they're jumping in like vultures to pick the bones before the
Before Jay comes in, Jimmy, would you be embarrassed if you were like a current world champion in the sport of boxing and you see these guys getting all the attention and the money?
Yeah, of course they would. The fact that they're out selling fucking. I mean, listen, that fucking. No matter what they say, that Tank Davis Burroughs fight, him jumped up to 140 because he can't make 135 anymore, although they'll say he had a title, it was a junior title. But anyways, that fucking thing ain't gonna see 100,000 buys. No fucking chance in hell, regardless of what their in-house journalist tweets out. No fucking way it does more than 100.
I think so, Jimmy, to be honest. I think so. I think didn't Leo Santa Cruz and Tank do over 100,000? I believe it did. Now when you take into consideration,
we don't know. But H Money, we don't know though. They didn't
I believe it did. I think they some people did some videos about it. I'm not sure, but I think it did though. The Tank pay-per-view. And now when you take in consideration the undercard, Erickson Lubin versus Jason Rosario, I think that's a great fight. I think Leo Santa Cruz is going to beat Tank Davis in that fight. Not Leo Santa Cruz, but Mario Barrios. I think he's going to beat Leo Santa Cruz. I think Mayweather made a mistake by making this fight. Mario Barrios.
A lot of people are saying that.
Barrios is going to beat Tank Davis. That's what you're saying, H Money. Barrios is going to upset Tank Davis.
Yes.
Okay. Hey,
well, a
man.
lot of people are saying because of his length and height, and he hits hard. So that's what a lot of people are saying. But listen, H Money, but you got to understand too, brother. You should know this because you're really into this. Always pay attention to where your information's coming from. And put it this way: if Top Rank or any fucking promotional company was released, first off, the head of that company, Bob Arum, called Fox and said, listen, I know this has never been done in professional boxing history. I don't want you, the provider, to let the public know how many you sold. Like, first off, you got to ask yourself, why would Heyman have done that? Secondly, then the only person who gets a leaked thing is a guy who's on your payroll, who does the inside PBC, Mike Hoppinger. You know what I mean? It's like those, and then it's always a source told me. So he doesn't. It's not nailed down. There's nobody even because listen, there's a reason why they have to say a source. And I'll tell you, it's very important. That word is very important because Heyman's paying taxes on what that really made, how many fucking pay-per-views it actually sold. So if the IRS thought that Heyman was actually tweeting out, we did fucking 1 million, and they found out he paid taxes on 82,000, they're going to come down on him, and he's way too smart for that. So he leaks it through. I mean, leaking it, somebody from fucking his secretary calls Mike and says, put it up, and it's always they're projected to reach between blah, blah, blah after the fight's over. Listen, they know within hours. It's all fucking computerized. It's so just know that, dude. None of those PBC numbers are legit. And nobody in the industry who are connected, whether they pro PBC or not, agree that they believe that they're legit.
And you and I have been saying that for years now. You and I have been on the same page and confirming that through sources and everything else for a while now.
What's up, Jay?
You know something? I don't really care. I don't really care for these numbers, but they do matter, especially when you're trying to create a false narrative or
They're
any
very
narrative.
important, right? That's the whole basis. Yeah, the whole basis of right. No, I know. Like the basis of how they're judging their fights. Like Spencer's saying, "Fuck you, dude. I need 80%. I'm selling fucking 300,000 pay-per-views. You did 90 6 years ago." But that's the whole.
What makes
there you go, brother.
That's what makes it complicated. That's what makes it complicated is when you start doing that. Okay, so if you're gonna make that claim, then I hate this. This is the side of boxing I'm never interested in. Never interested in. And why are these people forcing us to do this? Like, oh, I sell more. Okay, fine. You sell more, then come to an agreement and then put everything on the fucking table and say, look, this is my pay-per-view numbers. Here are the real numbers, and here's your real numbers.
But no one's going to keep that quiet from a boardroom. It's going to get leaked after that. That's why they don't do it. And then, like Jimmy said, after that, once it gets leaked and it's official, then they have to pay taxes on that.
And you know what Heyman's doing? You know how slick Heyman is? He's not even paying he's paying his taxes quarterly, all in one lump sum. So like you would normally say, okay, he paid his taxes right after a pay-per-view. You say he did a pay-per-view and you see paid, I don't know, $9 million in taxes. You can assume by adding up the fucking state tax, the capital gains tax, you can add it up. Any half-wit in accounting can figure out exactly the number they sold. But he doesn't even do that. To protect that, under his LLC, he pays his, I found out, I had somebody, it cost me $10, and the dude fucking checked into it. He pays all his taxes quarterly, so they're lumped in together, so you can't figure it out.
Nice. Well, all right, who on this panel actually is going to go out of their way to make sure that they're going to pay more taxes? Crickets, exactly. So that's why he's doing this. I mean, and that's why he doesn't release the official numbers, because he's not going to go out of his way to make sure that he's going to get hit with anything more than he has to. He's figured it out. He's been involved in accounting for a while, even not accounting itself, but was in the music industry. Hey, that's an open, huge area to get hit with a lot of taxes because it makes a lot of money. So you got to figure out loopholes. That's what he's done. And that's why he makes up numbers, like you said, to make it look bigger, but he's not going to release the real ones, because if he is, 400,000 buys, oh my goodness, he ain't going to pay taxes on 400,000 buys. So he'll leak the rumor. He'd rather pay taxes on the reality than the rumor.
Forbes has a list, right, Jimmy? They have a list where you can look up what that fighter made and what they pay taxes on, what they ended up paying taxes on. That's like the real number of what they got paid.
All right, guys, let's take a phone call. 978, you're on the air. 978.
Real quick, I
well,
yo.
Yes, who is this?
Yo, this is Mismatches coming from Lawrence, bro. What up?
Hey, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
Lawrence.
Lawrence, Kansas.
Jake Paul's the truth,
Lawrence, Mass.
He's the truth.
Yep, yeah,
He
Jake
is.
Paul's
I
the
told
truth.
you guys. I told you he's the truth.
Hold on. Go ahead, caller. Go
Yo,
ahead.
Jimmy, what up, bro?
Yes.
Yo, I'm from Lawrence, bro. I'm mathematic.
Oh, yeah. Lawrence, Massachusetts. Nice, because that's a recognized ass too. Yeah, so you're a local guy. You're right down the road.
Yeah, I'm right down the road. I'm actually on the road right now. I'm gonna call back because I'm driving right now.
All right, call back, man. Take care.
All right, man.
Salute to
All
Lawrence,
right.
Mass.
So,
We don't want a
if
car
I could weigh
crash.
in on this whole opinion of the whole event, because I came in just after you guys were done. I'm old school fan. I may not be old school in age, but I'm old school fan. And so I welcome anybody's rebuttal to this that they want. But if we lowered our standards this much that just because numbers are high means this is a success, that we're celebrating half-assed punks that don't even have any real class to just sell something to make money and call it a product and call it our product, and we're going to claim this with pride just because it did a lot of money. This is terrible.
Well,
it's a joke.
that's the new way.
Bro,
Supply and
That's why
demand.
age.
Supply and demand,
can I
baby.
say this?
But you're gonna see.
Bro, how are they punks and they
Go
put
ahead.
on their gloves and they lace their gloves up and they get in the ring and fight? I wouldn't call them punks if they're willing to get in the ring, my brother.
I didn't call them bums. I called them punks. That's a
Yo,
big
you said
difference. You can
punks.
still
No,
be
yeah,
punks when
you
they lace their
said
gloves.
punks. And I said, how are they punks with a P if they're willing to get in the ring and fight?
I
Well, let me
get
ask
Jay's
you, H
point.
Money.
That
What do you think
question
about someone who doesn't actually
that
take it
question doesn't even make
serious?
sense. That question doesn't even make sense.
But why blame the?
It does make sense because you're calling them punks, and he actually got in the ring, and most people won't do it. I don't think you're willing to get in the ring and do it, bro. But he did it, so
But you need to
I'm not gonna
just
sit here
slow
and call
your
him a
roll
punk.
when it comes to talking to me because you
No,
try to
I'm
call
saying
me
I'm
on a
not. I'm
regular
not.
basis on
Yeah.
stuff and you sound
Hey,
ridiculous.
wait. It's not.
Now,
Listen,
because
bro.
I call a
How
person
are
a
you gonna
punk and I
call
give
this
my
man a
opinion,
punk
and a
and
punk
he
has
got in
nothing
the
to do
ring
with
and fought?
getting in the ring,
He
nothing
went to
to
fight.
do with getting in the ring.
Why don't you
Nothing.
do it?
All right,
Why
all
don't
right,
you
hold
do
on,
it then, bro? Why don't
guys,
you go
guys,
ahead and do it,
guys,
bro?
guys. Hold on. I wanna hear Stu because he's too chaotic. Stu, go ahead.
Listen, just because someone's willing to get in a ring, it doesn't mean they're not a punk. I know loads of punks that have got bums. Listen, mate. I mean, look. Of course, you got to be brave to get in a boxing ring, but you'd be surprised what people are doing when they're desperate for money. I mean, I'm quite happily getting in a boxing ring and getting knocked the fuck out for £1 million now. I'll quite happily take that knockout. Does that mean I'm a good fighter because I'm brave? No, it means I'm a punk because I got knocked down and around.
Well,
That's all
brother,
it is.
can I say something real quick? What H Money's doing, I understand because it's his age and I understand where he's coming from. Punk is like calling a guy a bitch. So exactly when you call a guy a punk.
What?
So no, I'm just saying, dude. I'm just saying. So it's a different terminology, a different denotation for him. It means a bitch. That's what. So you and I, we call him a punk. It's different. I don't think you know. That's what I'm saying.
Boxing. H Money sees boxing, and I'm guessing that H Money somewhere in his mid-20s to early 30s, no more than that. He sees boxing from his age, and this honestly, I'm not gonna knock that, and what I'm not gonna totally knock that. But for me, as an old school boxer, a still a hardcore fan, and I see this happening all the time. I see these new ways to make boxing events. And personally, I'm not interested. But the one thing that I will say is that these younger generations, they are, because boxing in America is such a dying sport that they are, they got to come up with new ways. It's unfortunate that Jake Paul, and fortunate for him, but unfortunate for guys who take the craft very serious since they were younger, that a guy like him could outsell them and make a lot of money. Jake Paul can make more money than, let's say, Vasily Lomachenko, a guy, based on popularity. I'm talking about just based on popularity. He can make more money than a guy like him, a guy he probably could make more money than Teofimo Lopez in terms of just generating money, just not a flat out fee. Right? I'll sell my name and you sell your name, and we'll see who makes the most money. There's a very good chance that Jake Paul will outsell him as well. But I get where guys like H Money are coming from. Because they remember they're raised in the times where we're kind of like the old heads that are kind of seeing it outside, looking in.
Yeah, just punk means different to us. That's all. Because I say punk too, but
Right,
I don't
punk
use it in the
mean
same term.
doesn't
Yeah,
mean that.
I understand
Yeah,
what
it doesn't.
Styles. I mean,
let me since
Stu's saying
this
and
started
Jay's
between
saying.
me and H Money. Let me fully clarify, buddy. I wasn't calling them punk as in bum or punk as in bitch or punk as punk's kind of degenerate, and that's not still the same thing as a bitch. And it means that they're not real boxers to the older school guys. And I'm not doing it to disrespect them. I mean, it's a disrespectful term to an extent, but I'm not doing it to make it sound like they're not brave enough to get in the ring. That was never the issue. That was never even part of the conversation. It was a simple fact.
I respect it. Yeah, I respect your opinion, Jay. Like I see somebody in the comments saying Wilder fought bums, punks, and tomato cans. I mean, like, come on. What about some of those guys that Wilder knocked out? You know what I mean? And I think Jake Paul, you know, he does have some talent. He does train. You know, he takes boxing serious. And Ben Askren, if anything, he's the professional fighter that came in the ring overweight. Now, Jake Paul looked like he took the fight more serious than Ben Askren did.
No, he's been training. But guys, let's take a phone call. 386. You're on the air. 386.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Jackson. And Jay was 100% spot on. First of all, I don't think he called anybody a punk. He called the whole production a punk-ass production of having strippers and little kids in this concert boxing. And Jake Paul, and I'm probably the same age as you, is a punk and a bitch. He is. Just because he gets in the ring doesn't mean he's a fucking degenerate loser. I don't care how much money he made. Jay was 100% right, and I am in my, the 20 to 30s range. And
you can call back anytime. Trust me.
Atrocious. It was a fucking disaster. Disgusting. Boxing is not a concert where the lyrics of some of the rap is garbage. Fuck that.
Bro, you said it was garbage and it wasn't successful. You said it wasn't successful, my brother, but he did 1.3 million pay-per-view buys.
And he's come down a lot, age money, and you ducked the hell out of me in our little debate. But
so why don't you join the panel, punk? You're the punk.
Lot. That's why degenerates like you think it's okay.
You're the punk. Stop ducking me, punk.
Oh, we see the real H1 is coming out. The real H1 is coming out.
Wait for the Kumite.
Yeah, the Kumite, exactly.
You gotta wait, bro. You ain't gotta wait. We're here, right now.
Right here, right now.
Let's hear it, H.
Well, BDA, so if Prince Charles or Prince Williams went out tomorrow and said, I'm going to box somebody, that would probably get worldwide 50 million pay-per-view buys. Would that make Prince Williams?
All right. Listen.
He came out, you know what I mean? Like, he's so famous. Look at how much 70 million people watch that interview. So if he said, you know what, I'm going to box somebody, does that make him a boxer?
If Biden said, I'm going to fight Donald Trump in the boxing, it would do fucking 1 billion buys.
Yeah. But it don't make them boxers, right?
But what makes you a boxer, Jimmy?
I watch the WWE, man. You can fight Trump. I'm joking. Look, Jake Paul, right? You got to look at it like this. Jake Paul, if anyone to get out of boxing is the hardest trade in the world. It's a horrible sport. You've got to be a bit nutty to do it. Who wants to get punched in the face for a living? Nobody. But the thing is, right? The guy's a multi-millionaire. He's got everything he could ever want. Yet he's still getting up, training and learning this sport when he doesn't need to. And I like that because I see so many boxers.
I give him credit for that, yes.
Yeah, he's training.
So many boxers
that
are cutting corners that don't want to know, that are conning the living out the sport. Well, this guy...
Because he doesn't... He's right. He doesn't need to do this. He's not doing it because he's trying to become a millionaire, a famous boxer. He's already a kid with a lot of money. I don't know his background in terms of like him making money, but he seems like, a kid that came from money and he boxes. And look, I'll be honest with you. I've heard some people say that they would, boxing fans say that he's a bum. Look, I got to be honest with you. If you don't train like him, he'll fuck you up. I think
he's improved massively. I think he's improved massively. That just showed me that he's spending a lot of time in the gym and he's willing to learn. And you can't knock anyone. Look, no one's pretending Jake Paul is a world beater.
Mm-hmm.
But, at the end of the day, the guy was a YouTuber and he's just learned the sport in the last couple of years. And let's be real.
So still, would you consider...
MMA, listen, MMA should be ashamed of itself. MMA should be ashamed of itself.
Let me ask you, brother.
Them fighters that continue to embarrass the sport, don't they? They just continue to embarrass the sport.
Stu, would you say that Jake
you just
Paul
made a
is
great
pretty
point.
Hold on. Jimmy, then H Money. Jimmy, go ahead.
I just was asking Stu a question. Stu, you basically echoed my point I said earlier about he's going through training camps, which I respect. He's going through full training camps. So you knowing, recognize what that takes, what these guys are going through.
Exactly.
At what point does he actually become a real boxer? And it's not fair anymore to be beating up guys who aren't real boxers. When does he actually fight Fury, who I think he should fight?
See, that's where we are right now with Jake Paul. I think he's too good for non-fighters, but yet not good enough for the real fighters. So it's a problem, really. I mean, look, to be fair, I think him fighting an MMA fighter was a fair call. I mean, look at all these people in the chat. Oh, he wasn't a real boxer, but this guy was an MMA fighter. He got in a cage. He's a fighter. He trained. Listen, the guy. You can't expect Jake Paul to go in there with a fucking undisputed champion or something. You know what I mean? He's going to pick someone that's on his level. Well, I thought it was on his level, but Ben Askren is absolutely terrible. I mean, I think my daughter would knock Ben Askren.
Humiliated himself.
Quite sure of it. You know what I mean? But look,
just the condition he was in humiliated himself.
Because when you watch him in there, he's doing things right. He's obviously listening and he's learning. I mean, the way he's throwing some of the shots, when he's in and out, and throwing from side on as well. When he's throwing the jab from side, because a lot of when you don't have to box, a lot of guys will throw shots square on, and that's when they get caught with the big. But he was coming from the side, and he was using his feet quite well, using the jab. He's learning, and he's quite a decent fighter. I tell you what, mate, if you can't really fight, Jake Paul will knock you the fuck out. I'm telling you that now.
That's what I'm saying. This is.
Well, hold on. Let H Money want to say something before.
Go ahead, H Money.
Yeah, H Money.
Yes, I agree with Stu. Stu made some great points right there. Jake Paul does have power, and if you're not taking your craft serious, if you're not training, Jake Paul will knock you out. And as far as him being a YouTuber coming into boxing, I think he is the best YouTuber that became a boxer. I think he's better than his brother Logan Paul. I think he's better than KSI. So I do see some talent there, but I don't see him beating a Tommy Fury. I think Tommy Fury actually knocks him out, to be honest with you. But he does have. Go ahead.
Tommy Fury destroys him. Like I said, people don't realize how different a good trained boxer from who's been fighting from a young age is to a normal guy in the streets. It stratospheres apart, mate. Once they start landing on you, you're sleeping quickly. These guys know how to front. It's like these guys are throwing punches every day. So they're learning how to throw it properly with technique. They're getting tougher and tougher. When you're a guy that probably goes to the pub every day and you fight a guy like that, you're getting knocked out, aren't you? Of course you are. I mean,
and different strike emotions too.
When you fight a boxer on the street, it's going to be a tough fight for you because they're fit, they know how to throw shots, and they know how to take shots. I mean, it's a difference between putting a real fighter in there with a guy.
Let me say one thing. I think that he's a better. Let me make one point. I think he's a better boxer than most of these UFC fighters. I think if they match him up with UFC fighters, he might beat most of them. I think he probably beats all of them, to be honest, in a boxing match. With that being said, let me just say this about Triller real quick.
That's a good point.
King Bucho in BDA boxing. Listen, Triller gives you a live concert with the biggest artists in the world. You had Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, E40, Too Short. You had Saweetie. She's a beautiful young female rapper. They give you a concert with boxing, which makes it just a big event in general. So people want to watch the concert. You got some people that want to watch the boxing. I think all together makes it a big event. That's what I think.
It's the Walmart of boxing.
It makes it a circus.
It's a. I mean, H Money.
The people like it. The people like a circus, bro. The people are buying this circus. No matter what we say about it, people are spending money to watch this.
True.
We need a larger sample.
The people or Jake Paul's fans are buying it?
It really, I think it's Jake Paul fans. It's Jake Paul fans. You got boxing fans. Listen, it's hip hop fans. People that love music. You got people that love UFC watching it, and you also got boxing fans all together coming together and buying these events.
Yeah, now hold on, H Money. This is a novel.
I want to take Butcho. Oscar De La Hoya should be absolutely ashamed of himself for what he put on there. This is how far he has fallen from grace. This is one of the best promoters in the game a few years ago, and now he's sitting in this bingo hall watching Jake Paul and coked off his nut, chatting absolute garbage. I mean, it was just, it was embarrassing. And this is how, you know, this is a guy that was one of the best promoters in boxing. His fall from grace is massive. I mean, look, you can see why Canelo wanted rid of that guy. I mean,
because he's golden. He's golden. He's golden, bro. He's golden. Yo, the golden boy. Golden boy falling from grace. Damn, yo, that's a
Yeah, that was him before.
Anyway, man.
It was bad. It was terrible. It was embarrassing. It was, and
I want to say this to H.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I want to say this to H Money, that H, you know, like when I hear H Money talk, and this is not a knock towards him. It's not a knock towards him. He's a boxing fan. This is the new age of boxing, whether we like it or not. We're you know, a lot of us on here are in, well, I don't know how old Bucho is, but
35.
I think Bucho's in his 30s. 35. Okay, yeah. So, but a lot of us are in our 40s, even late 40s, early 50s. We see boxing from the time that we grew up in it. And I'm not saying that, because I agree with that kind of boxing. But today's, you know, younger generation with the internet, listen, you don't need television to become a star anymore. You could do that shit online. All you got to do is get a phone, and you're in business. You know, you sign up to YouTube or Instagram or whatever, or all of them, and you become a huge star. So with that being said, I understand where H Money is coming from. It's just that for the older fans, the more hardcore fans, in terms of that way, I'm not saying that H Money's not a hardcore boxing fan, but his age, right? For the generation he grew up in. But for us, it's not entertaining. Like, I don't care about the concerts.
Yeah.
I don't care about the strippers. I don't care about none of that. But these younger generation, they do. They like that shit. You tell them, yo, there's a boxing event. Check this out. There's a boxing event. There's going to be some high-profile entertainers singing, and there's going to be strippers. They all in. They're like, fuck it, yeah.
So we should embrace this? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Say again?
We should embrace this. The future is here.
I mean,
I think it's a matter of you have to, whether
personally,
you want to or not.
Not me personally, but I can't blame the younger generation or even somebody who just wants to be entertained, right? It doesn't have to be from a younger generation. For me, I don't need that kind of entertainment. I've been there, done that. I've been to the strip clubs. I've been to the circus millions of times. And, you know, I'm already been entertained.
Yeah.
I just don't want personally, I don't like my entertainment Walmart style. You know, shop, boxing in the left aisle, you know, go down to this section is the fucking... if I'm going to go to a concert, I want a concert. If I want a boxing event. I'm fortunate enough to be one of the older guys, so I lived through the heyday of boxing. I lived through fucking sellout arenas and unbelievable fights where shit weren't marinating and people talking about fighting because there wasn't social media. So... I want boxing more like that. I want it where the fights matter. I don't want it all blended, because when you blend different entertainments, they're kind of mute a little bit. It's not the same.
All you needed now was one of the little fucking dart games where you win a teddy bear if you hit the bullseye.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was like going to a circus, wasn't it? Look, that's the problem. You can't. If he's gonna be a boxer, then be a boxer. Don't bring that fucking that corny YouTube bullshit to boxing, because it just didn't work. And like I said, I don't know what Oscar was playing at. I just don't know what he was playing at. I mean, he should have been the one actually making this sort of relevant and any sort of relevance and a bit seriousness about it. Because let's be real, it was a fucking comedy act. But he was the worst one there. He was acting the bigger prick than all of them. I just couldn't believe what I was in. But look.
He was hanging out with Snoop Dogg, smoking weed and sniffing. That's what he was doing.
Well, mate, I wouldn't mind having a bit of Oscar's stuff, because the way he was going on last night.
Yeah,
mate,
holy shit.
That looked good stuff, man. Getting up the other night, trust me. But yeah, I mean, look, Tommy Fury. I mean, we're talking about him in the chat. He's talking about fighting Jake Paul now. I mean, it's just he's making noise, whether you like him or not. He's making noise, and you know, people.
Is this a question of boxing has to adapt? Adapt and survive? Is that it still?
He's got balls. He called out Conor McGregor.
So
he called out Conor. You know, he's calling out Tommy Fury apparently on Twitter. I'm hearing, but He's winning the fight anyway. He's nuts. Jake Paul's fucking nuts, mate. I don't care. He's something not right with him. His head's gone.
Yeah, I like Jake Paul, to be honest. I
nuts
think
to
he's
box
bringing
anyway.
some excitement to the game, man. I like what he's bringing to boxing, and it's exciting. Now, I think boxing will survive no matter what. King Bucho, I believe BDA. I think boxing will survive no matter what.
It's Bucho and
Well-
all right, Jay, go ahead, Jay.
I've talked about this before on here, and the numbers have backed me up that it's just not what it was before, with the exception of the highlight with Pacquiao and Mayweather when pay-per-view was at its height. You know, pay-per-view started in the 90s, and we talked about that, how you used to have to try to get the box a week ahead of time and stuff like that, and it evolved. But if that's
Started
now
in the 80s,
ending,
Jay.
yeah. Now, if that's now ending and we're moving into this new streaming thing, will boxing survive? Well, I mean, they still have roller derby. So I mean, yeah, so something will still be around, but is it ever going to be what it was?
Well,
Especially,
you could be in a vegetated state and live for years.
So
But-
you know what I mean?
Maybe this
I'm
can
not positive
can
this
motivate
actually
some
brings-
kids to like go back to go to the boxing gym. You know, because this is what we need. Like, how can we grow the sport? I mean, we need a younger generation to join the sport and not only watch it, but get involved in it. You know, go to the gym, train.
right now it's coming from Uzbekistan. That's the country
the thing
that's
is,
really.
how are these kids? Listen, how are these kids going to get into boxing when they can't watch it anywhere? So everything's pay-per-view, everything's at 12 o'clock at night. I mean, in America, they think putting on a fight at 12 midnight is a good idea. I mean, you need to get away from that.
Yeah.
Take it back a couple of hours. You know, I mean, look, the old
Boxing-
traditions are not working anymore in boxing. Our old school, we're not
Boxing in
seeing
the Western
bullshit
world?
now. If you want to get a young generation coming through, you've got to put it on earlier, and you've got to make it more exciting. You've got to get the best fights. I mean, look, I want to speak to Jimmy. How did you think? Because obviously your Boston boy Andrade won the other day, right? What's the feelings in Boston about Andrade? I mean,
there's just not much because he's
Well,
so
there you go.
infrequent, and it's not a very friendly style. A lot of the hugging, the grappling, and you know, he's been a pro since 2008. It's just taken too long, dude. And you've been looking so not. Oh, I mean, if
think
anybody
Andrade
walked
should've
away from that
stopped.
thinking he would have beat GGG in his prime,
I mean,
they
come
got
on, man.
serious issues.
The thing with Andrade is probably you get flashes of brilliance and flashes of nothing, and that's the problem with him. He's just very.
Andrade
he's not
should have
easy on
stopped
the eye,
him.
is
He was.
to watch.
Andrade should have. What I came away with was Andrade should have stopped him, because when I'm just looking at Williams' style of fighting, which is not much. I'm saying to myself, man, if that was Charlo, Triple G, forget about Canelo. These dudes would have just destroyed Liam Williams. So, you know, Charlo won the fight. I'll give him that. But he was, you know, and some people don't understand the meaning of getting outworked. That doesn't mean you won the fight, right? What I mean was he was outworking him in situations where I'm saying to myself, what the fuck is going on? Why is why is Andrade, why is Andrade like just standing there? He should be throwing more punches. The reason and it could be a lot of reasons. Remember, he's been a long layoff, but I've seen this in other fights. He's kind of like this front runner. He starts off pretty hot in the beginning of the round, kind of fades out, almost like a boxer who runs out of ideas quickly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're doing that against Liam Williams, who's right there to be hit. That's why he hurt him so many times. And actually won rounds for me where he was, he was getting outworked, and then he did this like 10-second flash where he's got Liam Williams hurt. The reason why you're doing that is because Liam Williams is a terrible boxer. You should have been stopping him, knocking him out. You know, that's what you should have did.
Good point. Hey, guys, sorry to cut you off. We need to take some phone calls because they're piling up over here. So quickly, 562, you're on the air, 562. Hello? 562, you're on the air.
Hello, me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to touch a little bit on the circus that we had on Saturday, and how the fact that the boxers were the losers as far as Red Cats and everything he was up to, and Oscar De La Hoya making a complete fool of himself. I don't mind YouTubers bringing attention to the sport, but on this platform, it just proved to be terrible.
All right, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I
It was
disagree.
terrible?
The numbers,
I mean,
You know,
I didn't watch it, so I can't say.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch it either. The numbers support H Money's theory that it was very successful, but I don't know if it came. I mean, Waterworld was a movie with Kevin Costner that made over $100 million in a weekend, and then it didn't do anything after that because nobody was pleased with the product when it was done. So this brought in a lot of attention, a lot of money. I'm not hearing great reviews out of most of the people calling in or the people on the panel outside of H Money. And H Money, I'm not doing this to pick on you. I'm just saying we have yet to see what everyone's opinion and if they really liked the end product in the end. All we got right now is the fact that it got a lot of numbers.
Well, and Askren's at fault for that too. Coming in the shape he came in, obviously didn't take it serious. So that doesn't bode well for the legitimacy of the event.
Right. You got one guy who's in great shape from what I saw, right? And the other guy was just like, I don't know if he just said, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna train."
Yeah, but that's not that's
like
his
getting
fault.
toned up.
Yeah, that's you're not gonna
Yeah, that's
blame
his
Jake
fault, of
Paul.
course.
Yeah. I'm not. You're not saying that, but
Didn't he get a guarantee? I might be wrong about this. Maybe somebody else knows. Didn't he get a guarantee 500K for that fight?
I heard it was something like that. You got a guaranteed up front, $500,000 up front or something. So that's all it was, and it looked like that.
Yeah.
Guys, sorry guys, but let's get the caller in here. Caller, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, but even with, let's just say if you tuned in because you wanted to watch Prograis fight, that fight alone, which was a legitimate boxing, between two boxers, it ended up looking like they made a complete mockery, or at least Red Catch did. I guess Prograis, you can't blame him for it, but Red Catch ended up looking ridiculous, and so did De La Hoya. Maybe Cunningham was the one shining boxer because he outboxed the MMA guy, but boxers, the boxing community, they look too great on this ridiculous platform.
Well, we don't know, man. I mean, I don't even know if this is gonna last. Like previous caller said. I mean, caller? Do you think this is gonna be a long-term thing, or is this gonna die out pretty quickly?
I think it's going to die out because I don't know how many more boxers will subject themselves. I think boxing fans are going to probably reject it as a whole eventually. That's what I believe.
Okay. I can tell you exactly how long it'll last, dude. Almost to the minute, as long as it's making money.
But exactly, Jimmy. That's the thing. That's something I want to talk about. All right, but caller, thank you for calling in. We're gonna take all our phone calls, but call back again next time. All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. All right, guys. Let's just get through this. 619. You're on the air. 619.
Yo, what's up? This is Bolt Hype, and I want to talk boxing with the BDA team. What's going on?
What's up, Bolt Hype? What's on your mind?
Bolt Hype.
No, I was just catching up on all the stuff from Triller and all that, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I like the blend of different entertainment styles, different athletes and celebrities from all across the media spectrum. But there was a guy you had on the panel here, and it sounded to me like he was being a little bit bigoted, because what he was saying was he didn't like how they were mixing S entertainment. He said S entertainment. So it almost sounded like he was coming out and speaking his true self there. But no, listen, I like what I saw. Okay. First time you saw people smoking and joking on TV, puffing away. Only in California is this possible, right? And Snoop Dogg's going to be at the forefront of this movement. This is where it's going.
How
right?
to party.
This is a blend. This is a blend of what we do when we're on panels and what we talk shit and when we hang out and when we're watching fights. Now, I was disappointed, though, with Regis Progress. I thought it just confirmed the fact that I think this guy's overrated, overhyped, okay, not very good. I thought the victory against Red Catch was fake AF, and I think if this was Top Rank or a professionally run organization like the Zone, they wouldn't have shown that last shot where you could clearly see that he did not hit him in the nutsack. He hit him somewhere on the side there. So that was a big mistake by Triller. Although it could be genius, they could start being more on the blooper side of things and showing some of the behind the scenes awkwardness But this is California. This is Hollywood. This is celebrities. Mario Lopez was talking about Ivan Redkach's fashion sense, his hair, his shoes, whether his, the carpets match the drapes or whatever he said, stuff that, some of you guys on the panel love talking about. So I thought, I'm a little surprised.
All
things
I'm not
on the
interested
panel
in,
would have
but yeah.
really liked what they saw more from.
So you
Triller.
like this shit, but ball hype. So basically, you like the whole thing, and you want to see more of it.
No, you guys liked it. I liked.
No,
it
you
for
liked it.
guys.
That's the
I
way
like
you're.
to hear you
This
guys
is.
talk about it.
You sound like you liked it,
Don't
man.
put words in my mouth. You said
Yeah,
you liked
no
it,
one's.
Ball Hype. You liked it.
You liked it, man.
I think it's pretty obvious what I felt about it, but I mean, hey.
When has anybody in this panel ever been like tiptoe around their feelings? Does Stu not let you exactly know how he feels?
Well, Stu, let us know. Stu, go ahead.
That's it, mate.
You are
Can
being.
you hear me? Because
You are
I've
not
actually just got in my
inclusive.
car. I'm going to
You're
set
not
call
being
up.
Hold on, caller. Hold on,
to
hold
the
on, hold on.
boxing community. You are not
Caller,
allowing
all right,
people
hold on.
with alternative lifestyles.
All right, hold on. Stu, go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting, bro, but I've just got in my car and I'm not sure if you guys can hear me properly. Is everything all right? Because I've got my mute off. So
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
All right, so Stu, do you want to say something, or we go back to the caller?
Well, yeah, I just want to, I don't even know why we're actually making a show of this fucking Jake Paul thing. It is what it is.
But you know what?
I mean, look,
he did 1.5 million pay-per-view buys, my brother.
Oh.
That's why.
I don't give a shit if he did 1.5 billion. It was a circus act.
It's boxing, Stu. Get with the times. Stu, you better get with the times, man.
Well,
you're all the way back
I'll
in
be old school
2000.
then. Listen, let me be old school then. I'll go and watch Hagler Herds and let you watch Jake Paul. How about that?
Yeah. We're going to be making the money, Stu.
I'll bring the problem with you guys. When you guys say old school, what you guys are talking about when you say old school is you're saying women, their place is in the kitchen. This is old school. This is a men's sport. You're not being inclusive to people with alternative lifestyles. You're not allowing people to express themselves.
Captain Saberhose in the house. Captain Saberhose in the house, innit? Get out of here, man.
Stu, we know you hate women.
Boxing. I don't hate women. I love women. I fucking have sex with women all the time. Of course, I love them. But at the end of the day, right, I don't like watching them punch each other in the face. It's just not for me. Look, I thought the girls the other night were really good fun to watch. I get it. I thought Savannah Marshall looks like she just levels above the rest, and she fights like a boxer should fight. Where a lot of these girl boxers are just pulled off the street, and they're street fighters with gloves on, and they can't even street fight. That's the problem. I mean, look. There's just no. I like to see skills and I like to see wars, and that's what I like to see. But hey, I like to see the men as well. When you get two men, world champion men fighting each other, you get the best in the world. I mean, two women that are world champions. What does it mean? I mean, it means nothing. I mean, I could get 14-year-old boys out and spark them out cold. It doesn't mean anything. That's the problem. If a world championship means you're the best of the best.
Oscar De La Hoya was commenting and complimenting another man's body, saying he looked like an Adonis. He was in great physical shape. Mario Lopez was commenting on Ivan Redkach's hair, what the color of his hair, matching the shoes, matching the shorts. Guys are coming in from non-traditional backgrounds, okay, coming into your boys' club, and you're not cool with that. You're not embracing alternative lifestyle. You're not embracing the
Oh, Ball Hype, you're fading. You're fading. Starting to fade away.
Yeah.
You're fading, Ball Hype.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All right.
There's nothing worse than a simp. There's nothing worse than a simp, man. This guy's a simp. Look, at the end of the day, right?
Ball Hype, would you start watching it when you start watching it when they start having ladyboys as entertainment?
That's the next step.
Freedom as an American, smoke and drink and be drunk and turn up when we're watching sports. Okay, this is America, okay, and we support alternative lifestyles.
All right. Well, Ball Hype, thanks for calling in. All right, we're gonna move on.
I want to wrap up with one thing. I served this country to be able to reserve my right to not approve of that. So there you go.
All right, H-Money wants to. Stu, go ahead.
He's the kind of guy that agrees transgender men who are allowed to share the toilets with women. I mean, he's that sort of guy, isn't he?
All right, H-Money, go ahead.
How is a YouTuber beating up a fat MMA guy alternative lifestyles? How did he involve that? How did he conflate that issue? That was a real reach, kid.
Everybody has the right to their own opinion.
Money, go ahead.
H Money.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jay.
I think he had a great call. To be honest with you, he made some good points, and like I said, man, Triller's bringing that excitement for those that don't like the YouTubers on the main event. Guess what? June 5th, Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. and it's going to be entertaining as well. You don't want to miss it.
Are you getting a kickback for advertising?
H Money,
No,
you
I'm
should
just
actually
being
work
honest.
for the. You
I'm just
should
being
actually work
honest.
for ESPN.
That's a
You
great
can't actually hype some of these fights up.
I'm sorry, what you say, Stu?
I said you should probably get a job with ESPN because you're actually good at hyping fights up. They could probably do with you right now, H Money.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Stu.
That's one skill you've got.
H Money at the ESPN panel. That shit would be dope.
H Money, are you going to spend $80 to watch that fight?
Yeah, it's.
H Money, you going to spend $80 to watch that fight?
I will to watch Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos, and
Oh.
also
Let me now H Money, ask everybody else on the panel if they're gonna.
Okay, I know Teofimo Lopez has a lot of fans, and a lot of his fans will be buying the fights. So let's start off with Recognize. Will you be buying the Teofimo Lopez pay-per-view?
Oh.
Well, if I had no choice, right? If I had no fucking choice, I would buy it. Yeah, I would
What do
buy
you
it.
mean no
There's
choice?
ways
You have
around
a
it. I gotta
choice.
be honest.
What do you mean if you wouldn't? Hold on.
You had no
Recognize.
choice. So someone had a gun to your head, then
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
going to buy this or you're going to die, then you
Right.
buy it?
No. To be fair. I am interested in seeing what happens. I think he's gonna knock him out. That's what more likely is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Teofimo will knock him out. But I am interested in watching that fight. So, if I don't got nothing going on that day, I'm definitely gonna.
All right, you're gonna have a timeout. We're gonna kick you out for a while.
Well, come on. I'm just being honest.
That's it.
hay fever.
So he said he'd watch it. He didn't say how he was going to go about getting it. He didn't say he's going to pay $80 for it. There's other means of,
He said yes.
There's
Bro.
other means of doing that.
He said he is going to buy the fight, bro. So let's go to the next person.
He said he's going to watch it. He didn't say he was going to buy it.
Big difference, man.
Yes or no question,
Okay.
dude. Yes or no. I recognize you're going to spend $80 for that fight.
I think it's 50. It's not $80, by the way.
50.
Yes or no.
Yeah, $50.
Okay, Jay. Yes or no.
Yeah. I would.
Bucho.
No.
BDA.
He's not here now.
Let me answer for me. No. Stu.
Stu's gone. He's driving.
But he also said no earlier. He wasn't
he said
going.
no.
So we got recognizing H Money out of the pan.
H Money.
If I missed anybody, I apologize.
Well, listen, we gotta wait for the numbers because who knows? I don't know. At this point, people are just their behavior is kind of weird. They're buying this.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say Triller released this numbers, right? Didn't they? They actually released the numbers for this Jake Paul fight. Are they going to do the same thing now? Are they going to release the numbers?
They did it with the Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones event, right? They released it at that fight, for that fight. So now my question to the panel is, do you guys think Teofimo Lopez will have a successful first pay-per-view with George Kambosos?
I mean, what's the success? What's the success? I don't know, man.
Define successful.
Does it make money?
Does it make money? But I don't know how much they're getting paid. So I don't.
How many pay-per-view buys do you project? Bucho, and then we go to Jay and Recognize.
All right, you know what, H Money, we'll think about this because I got to take a bunch of phone calls. But hold that question. Hold that question.
Bucho, somebody already figured out exactly by the pay that the people involved are getting. They have to, I believe, because remember it's a 50% pay provider thing. So to break even, it has to do 300,000. To break even with the pay scales.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's hold that question. We're gonna move to a phone call. Okay. 773. You're on the air. 773.
It's every day, bro.
What's up, Kevin? What's on your mind? Your thoughts
Kevin.
on Triller?
What's up, Kevin?
What's up, guys? How about this? Everyone's mad at Jake Paul. Who you should be mad at is Ben Askren. Ben Askren came in fat, soft, out of shape.
Yeah.
Completely unprepared. Knew who he was, had no business in there. He came up, showed up for the payday. And just like he was against that Masvidal fight, he came in arrogant. Oh, I'm just gonna go beat up a YouTuber. Oh, I'm just gonna go ragdoll Masvidal real quick. What happened? You got knocked clean out. So Jake Paul, I got no problem with it. He's out there handling his business, taking it seriously, training with the elite. And what pisses me off is these bums just getting in there and getting knocked out like unprepared. They have no business being in the boxing ring.
Why do you think he's picking them, dude? That's why he's fighting them.
That's the problem. They got no pay. They got no skills. They know better. But when it comes to money, people will sell their soul. They'll sell their health. They'll go, hey, man, I don't care. I'll just go get knocked out. I just want that payday.
So what you're saying is that Jake Paul is conning the fans. Kevin, so what you're saying is Jake Paul's conning the fans. I mean, he knows he's going to beat this guy up. And, he's taking everybody for a ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty much what boxing's been doing for the past 50 years.
Good point.
They feed these.
He's not the only one doing that.
And then maybe
that's an overstatement.
30th or 30th fight, they finally give him a step up in competition. This is what's been going on in boxing for 30 years.
So maybe this is boxing, guys.
Kevin,
this is boxing.
When in 30 years has fucking boxers gone through real boxing camps and fought MMA guys or basketball players?
Yeah, but
no,
Jimmy,
we're talking about the skill level. We're talking about the skill level, Jimmy. Come on, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're fighting other fighters, guys who went through the amateurs, guys who paid the dues. You know what I mean? The actual boxers, just because they have bad records doesn't mean anything. Because I'll tell you right now, put Jake Paul in there against a kid right now, a middleweight or whatever the weight class he's fighting at, who's 10-6, and I guarantee you, any 10-6 dude will take his head off.
But Jimmy, how is this different from one of these boxing mismatches that we get from time to time?
Because they weren't pay-per-views for 30 years. That's you know what I mean? Like, that's a joke. Those pay-per-views were always the pinnacle of success. Look through pay-per-view history. They were very rare to begin with. You were lucky to have one or two a year back in the day. That means it was Hagler Hearns. It was had to be something along those lines to make pay-per-view status. Other than that, it was HBO or Showtime.
Yeah, but guys, why not?
There was no fucking rich kids who can fucking take daddy's money and flip their YouTube success and go beat up fucking nobodies and charge people for it.
Kevin,
you said, it was the pinnacle. Basically, it was war-stopping action to where people like conflicts around the world would stop, like Ali Frazier, to go closed circuit to see that. That's what pay-per-view was to start with. And this is not what that was.
70 million people would watch a fucking a Muhammad Ali closed circuit fight. That's 70 million.
All right, Jimmy, let's go back to Kevin. Kevin, anything else?
Yeah, Jake Paul, he's got 3 fights. He's got 3 fights, and I hear people talking about it. Stick him in there with Canelo. Let's see how tough he is then. Yeah. It's just the animosity, the jealousy, the hatred is just funny to me. Jake Paul's got 3 fights. He's been training for 3 years. Okay, he's not going to fight Canelo. He's not going to fight Tyson Fury and all this other.
But who's calling it? Who's saying he should do that?
Well, there's some people saying that.
I just see it on Twitter. I see it on social media. That's the fan point of view. They want to.
Kevin, come on. It's just a few people.
Why call the show a quote retards?
Put him in there. Hold on. They say put him in there with a legit boxer, a real boxer. He's got 3 fights. This is what they do, man. We see it time and time again with prospects. They'll beat can after can after can for 20 fights. They won't take a step up in competition until 20, 25 fights. So it's just comes out of jealousy because I see this YouTube kid coming over, he's selling them $1.5 million pay-per-view buys. Meanwhile, their big stars can't sell 300,000. It's just the state of the world we're in. This is it.
Kevin, one last question. Is this good or bad for boxing?
Basically, boxing has been dying regardless. They put on 3 good fights a year, so it doesn't matter, man. Jake Paul's not going to do anything, make a difference or not. It comes down to the boxers need to start facing the best.
Yeah.
We need to have the best fight the best. That's what's going to change boxing, and Jake Paul has nothing to do with that.
Excellent. All right,
I'm
good call, man.
100% agreement with you there, brother.
Yeah, he's right, man. Like, it's even like Stu said, boxing's already at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, it can't go any lower. I mean, this can't hurt boxing. It can only maybe help it, but we'll see. Guys, we're gonna take another phone call. 978, you're on the air. 978.
Yo, what up? I'm back.
What's up? Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So H Money said something that I disagree with. He said Jake Paul knocks out anybody from the UFC, and I can guarantee you Max Holloway fucks him up easily. And fucking what's his name? The guy from Methuen. Jimmy, you know the guy from Methuen, the UFC guy from Methuen? Calvin Cater. He fucks him up too.
Yeah, but he was a boxer too, wasn't he? Before he went to MMA.
Well, it doesn't matter. He fucks him up. He said H Money said Jake Paul fucks up anybody from the UFC. I'm like, that's.
Oh yeah, no, I don't agree with that. I think that actually Conor McGregor would beat him. I think Conor McGregor is a better boxer. His left hand is actually nice, which I know pisses off BDA. People say nice.
Now, my second point is: do you guys know what Triller is?
No, what is it?
Anyone? Dude, that's like
Tranny
TikTok.
network.
Do you guys know what TikTok is?
A what?
What a what?
TikTok.
TikTok? Yeah.
Yeah,
I know what TikTok is. Yeah.
Yeah. What about it?
Huh?
Did you say TikTok?
Triller, right? That's like that's not boxing. I agree with H Money that's gonna shed some light on the sport for the new fans, but that's not boxing, dude. That's an event. Like I imagine Tekashi 6ix9ine performing on that.
Oh,
like
God.
that's not boxing, dude. It's
Big man.
It will help
You
boxing,
mad.
but it's gonna change boxing.
Yeah, but some people might say at the end of the day, you get a main event, you get a few fights, with guys with gloves, with boxing rules, so it is technically boxing, but it's surrounded by all this garbage with concerts and crazy commentators. But on the
No, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Fucking Fat Joe used to perform for who was it? He used to perform. There was always been concerts and boxing and stuff like that, like performances and stuff. That's not the problem. The problem is that like the fights aren't there, and like most of the fights that are being promoted for boxing are just like hype fights. You have Teofimo Lopez versus who? I don't even know who he's fighting. Who is he fighting?
Yeah.
Some guy named George Martin. Who?
Camboso.
Hey, caller.
Camboso.
Yeah, Butch Kombucha. He's fighting me. Caller, do you think that boxing might start looking at this Triller events and maybe adopting some of its features?
I think boxing needs everything it can get. So they're getting Mike Tyson, they're getting Evander Holyfield, they're gonna get Jake Pauls, they might get Kanye West to fucking fight somebody. Like I wouldn't expect no less. Snoop Dogg might go in there and fight somebody. It's a circus show. It's a circus show. In one end, I'm like, dude, fuck that. That shit is terrible for boxing. I honestly didn't even watch that event. I caught the YouTube replay. I watched the UFC because the UFC is just easier for betting and shit. I watch fighting, man. I watch fighting. So if a dude has good footwork, just slam him to the ground and punch him in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I enjoy fighting. So like, at the end of the day, if there's like exciting fights, and I don't really care. Like as long as they have the event right, you know what I mean? Like if they have a good performance, but they have to have the fights right. They have to have good fights. It doesn't matter about the Triller or whatever. Honestly, it doesn't matter about the event. It doesn't matter about who's promoting the fight. It just has to be a good fight. That's all. What do you guys think?
Good point. Anything else, caller?
That's it, man.
All right, thanks for calling. Good call, man.
Be safe.
Thank you.
All right, let's take another phone call. 516, you're on the air. 516.
Long Island.
Yo, I'm on.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
You on?
Oh man, I thought that Triller was off the hook. At first, I was not too convinced with the music or the length of it, but as it went on, as they were throwing in these small events, as people were getting nice on the panel, people were getting loose, and the circus of it.
The smoking
I thought it was
trees.
great, man. I was
The smoking
laughing.
trees.
I was having a good time too. Got to see Prograis do his work. Got to see some slap fighting craziness. Got to see Ric Flair. Got to see some behind the scenes stuff. Music. You know, the music wasn't all for me, but it was different. I got to meet Doja Cat, who I never heard
How are
of.
the strippers?
And the fact that boxing
How are
at
the strippers?
first is entertainment first. Yes, I like the science of it. I like the whole theory of it. I like, the working out of it. But who gives a shit, man? If you take your girl and some friends who are casuals and you go to an event like that, you're going to have a great time. And then you're going to see some boxing. And then at the end, we could get the nerds together and talk about boxing. But at the end of the day, boxing is entertainment. This is why this came off. Now, this not might be the only format. They can switch it up, put a little, make a little bit more, for appeal to everyone. But the idea of it was excellent. Actually, they made more money than the boxers do with the regular promoters, man. They made Jake Paul a millionaire, bro, man. And the guys that are struggling, the real boxers that are struggling up there, can't even get this much money. And Triller is giving this venue for them.
Caller. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What was the quality of the strippers? I heard there were strippers there.
It wasn't to my part, man, but to each his own. There was taste for, I guess, for certain cultures, which was cool, man. But it could be like that. Could be even fit,
They were fat girls,
whatever, man. But
they were chunky.
The whole idea of it was great to me.
All right, caller. So what you're saying is, caller. So what you're saying is that you want to see boxing adopt some of these ideas that Triller is providing us with.
Yeah, man. I mean, it doesn't have to be that spectacular of it, but yeah, man, make it like less boring, man. I mean, boxing is boring when you see it, man. Until you get to the event, you get to see all these other knuckleheads fighting. No one wants to see that shit. Put something in between. Do something creative, man. I mean, there's a lot of money involved in this, man. So I don't see the boxing community, the old boxing community mindset do anything, man. You got these old promoters robbing these fighters, and Triller is giving them money, man, through what they're doing, man. It's a great idea, man. I don't see why people are hating, man. No, the nerds stay with the nerds, man. Who wants to hear people talk about boxing all day, man? People in the
chat are saying that you work for Triller. People in the chat are saying that you work for Triller and that you're terrible. They don't like what you're saying.
Listen. This is the same idea. This is the same idea what Uber did to the taxi business. No one liked that shit. The taxis didn't like it. This is the same thing what Bitcoin is doing to the money.
How did it work out for Uber? Didn't they lose $7 billion so far?
Yeah.
The regular taxis.
Did Triller overshadow the MMA event that night?
Pretty sure he did. Yeah.
There you
Pretty
go.
sure it did. Yeah.
And MMA is a series event, and people love it. I mean, they got fans in MMA who watch it. And look, it made more money. So what does that tell you?
Now, listen, Dana White, they got the same number of people watching that event that they would have watched it. No MMA didn't lose fans to Triller. The same way, if there was a boxing event on, they wouldn't have lost boxing fans to it. It was an event if you want to go to that route. That's all it was.
They had a lot of casuals watching.
All right, so caller, do you think this is gonna be a long-term thing or just it's a novelty factor kicking in right now?
Listen, I think the other side is looking at this, and they're gonna see some things changing for the regular where we used to see boxing. I think they're gonna throw some things in and make it, other than a video before the boxer comes in and watch the storyline, which is cool too. But you've seen that all the time. Everything's the same. Here they switched it up. And that's what you need, man, a fresh outlook of what...
Yeah, but this isn't new, though, caller. They've had concerts in the past. They've had comedians They've had all this back in the
well,
80s and the
stop
70s.
it.
Yeah, they used to have
They got
comedians.
going
Richard
again.
Pryor used to come out and do fucking bits between fights. They've been
Go.
doing this for
That's what
years.
they
It
used
just
to
didn't
do.
take
Something
on.
like that. It doesn't have to
This
be
guy
like a
doesn't like
thriller
the
type
whole
of thing,
back
but
and
something
forth
like
thing,
that
huh?
would work.
You just you just fucking set him on go and he goes.
All right. So, but did they have people smoking weed and cracking jokes? Did you have a coked up De La Hoya? I don't think so, Jimmy. This is the future.
No, they didn't. They didn't have that. So I mean, if
He went
that's
in up there
Strippers?
and made an entertainment, more entertainment. And I was cracking up.
All right, caller. We gotta move on, but one last comment, if you have any.
Hit us
I
with
just
some more
said,
wisdom.
But other than that, I think you have to have a different mindset for this, like the last caller said. Have an open mind and embrace the difference now, man. It's a new generation. They don't want to see the regular thing. They want something different. What the coaches doing today? They smoking weed now. It's legal, and they doing that on live, man. And it's on, and then people are just letting. They even had. They even wanted to get Bernstein. They were getting Bernstein, Al Bernstein high on the panel. That was crazy. I've never seen that before. I was laughing my ass off. So I thought it was great.
All right, caller. Thanks for. All right, we get the point. Good call, man. Call back again next time, caller. Take care.
But Al Bernstein was there because they paid him $50,000. Do you think he would have been there on his own?
Man, that was cringe, man. The guy was trying to do a serious job. He didn't even know where he got himself into because
You got what's his name yelling? I'm like $2 million, motherfucker! Like he was talking about, he was screaming the shit he was saying. That was it was cringe.
Al Bernstein's trying to call the fights like it's a serious thing. But guys, should we blame the whole event, the boxers, or the
blame
or the fans?
Steve Cunningham was there, right? Steve Cunningham was there. Did he do anything to make that show interesting? No, he stunk the fucking joint out. So it's not just this box. You could put on the biggest firework display, the best comedians, the best DJs. It doesn't matter if the fighters stink the fucking joint out when the real business comes around. Do you know what I mean? You've got to go. This is a problem with fighters these days. All right, it's about hit and not get hit. Of course it is. It's about your own safety at times. Of course it is. But you've also got a duty to entertain. And if you don't be surprised when no one's fucking coming to your fights. It's simple.
And if you have to,
you've got going out there these days. It's a very hard sport to be a star in now, boxing, because, like you said, there's so much other things to do, and it's expensive. Watch, isn't it? $80 to $100 to watch a fight. It's quite a lot of money, anywhere. So you've got to put on a fucking show. I mean, look, would you, if you had $80 right now and want something to do, would you spend it on watching Andrade fight? Would you?
No. I mean, he's not gonna be a pay-per-view star, man. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like Jimmy said, the pay-per-view model that's done for. However, I mean, apparently this Jake Paul fight was a success. So, Jimmy, could this bring back pay-per-view?
No.
Okay.
No, it won't, because that's not what the investment's into. DAZN isn't putting in billions of dollars into the app, and ESPN's pushing the app. App's the way of the future. The PBC is the only model still pushing the pay-per-view, and we don't know
they're
how
trying to sell
successful those
boxing
are.
products. They're trying to sell boxing product where Triller is trying to sell you concerts mixed in with boxing.
Well, you find out the money behind that event, Thriller, whoever was that, I bet you managed every one of those singers, and what they're trying to do is get all their people work, plus the pandemic. My thing is, if you have to hang a bunch of shiny shit to keep everybody busy, it's because that's for a reason. They're doing that because the product itself sucks.
Guys,
Fat
do you
MMA
remember
guy who could never box to begin with? Why did anybody think that was going to be entertaining?
This is how Al Heyman really hurt boxing. When he started paying these guys ridiculous amounts of money to fight nobodies, right? And there's a reason why he did that, because he's the manager and he gets big fees from the fight. So of course he's going to pay him as much as he can. It was a big scam, but that's what started this downfall in boxing, because the money started going up. Fighters started demanding 3-4 million, like Danny Garcia. He's got no business asking for that sort of money. Even more, some of these guys. Crawford wants 8 million. Spence 8. These Mikey Garcia's another one wants stupid money, right? And so sort of inflation's gone up. So these fighters, the lower levels, they're starting to ask for more money. And when did it stop? I mean, when a guy's getting 3 or 4 million, It's quite easy for him to fight cans and keep getting 3 or 4 million than to fight for 7 million and likelihood to get your ass whooped. So, of course, fighters are ducking and making it easy for themselves. It's comfortable, isn't it, when you're just getting 3 million to fight a can? And this is the problem with boxing. And now Heyman sort of started this off with these ridiculous fees that he's paying these fighters, and now you can't tell one of your workers you're going to pay him £1,000 a week or $1,000, and then a couple of weeks later say, sorry, I can't give you that name, I'll give you 500. Ain't going to work. They're going to walk out, and this is a problem.
Good points too. And I also wanted to go back to because we're blaming this celebrity boxers, we're blaming the event, but should we blame the fans? Because it's at the end of the day supply and demand, right? Supply and demand. If people demand this, then why are we getting mad at this guy? They just want to make some money. This company wants to make money. They see a potential making money, and it's the fans. They want this type of crap.
It's the fans. The boxing fans are the consumers. They're the ones that buy this up, and they're what they're doing is they're appealing to the social media crowd of the world, and that's why I'm not going to say that it's a bad idea. It's
but are those
boxing
boxing
idea,
fans
but it's
recognize?
But of course it does, Jimmy. Absolutely.
No, but but I'm asking you: do you believe the people bought the fight were boxing fans? Because I strongly disagree with that. I think it was Jake Paul fans and YouTube, right?
Jake Paul.
So
fans,
then again, it's not. Yeah.
Some UFC fans, mainly these were social media fans. But Jay wanted to say something. Go ahead, Jay.
Jay, go ahead.
So we talked about how this has been done before, and in boxing particularly. Remember, in the late '90s, early 2000s, they wanted to get the hip hop generation into it, so they did KO Nation. Wasn't quite this level, but it was bright lights. It was playing rap music. It was having rappers walk them into the ring. It was skimpy ring car girls walking them into the ring and making sure you could notice them in between rounds. So they may not have been strippers per se, but they were showing some flesh and trying to sell eye candy. It's all been done before. So
Rock Nation did it too. Rock Nation just did it. They were the last ones that did it. Remember the opening night? They had a rapper come in with that weird ass mink coat and the mink hat, and they involved rock music. They had their rappers coming on. They had a bunch of NBA stuff.
But guys,
that fizzled out. They lost. What did they say? They lost $375 million on their venture in boxing. How's that?
I guarantee you, Jay-Z didn't lose any of that of his own money.
Right, but we have to take into account KO Nation was like almost 20 years. That's a good example comparison, but this is the 20 years later, man. We have social media. You can easily promote fights, events, and let's be honest,
this is the greatest thing.
Well, yeah, but hold on, guys. This was taken to the next level. You can talk about semi-strippers. These were full-on strippers. They had like 3 concerts. They had like the slap contest. Those guys that slap each other.
Bucho, you know what it is? Social media is the greatest thing that's ever happened to mediocrity. Like, just any average person, if they really focus on something that people like, can make a whole lot of money. They can make a whole fucking lot of money. The way I understand it, Jake Paul, and his brother. He has a brother, Luke Paul, whatever the fuck his name is.
Logan.
From what Logan, excuse me.
Yeah.
From what I understand, right? Because I got kids that are teenagers. I got nephews and nieces that are teenagers. From what I understand, he's a huge YouTube star before any of this happened. And I don't even really know. I didn't really ask him what he talked about.
He's got millions, dude. He's got millions and millions of subscribers.
Right. So he's got millions and millions of subscribers. So he's already. So check this out. He's already making money off of YouTube, and he's making a lot of money to have millions of subscribers.
Plus, he's a rich kid, dude. His parents are multimillionaires. He's always had money.
Well, they know how to make money.
And still, I give him credit as a fan of boxing that a guy like him takes boxing serious, and he trains, and he's got a trainer, a professional trainer that can train him how to box, and he's doing all that, right? But this is how you sell. Look, if you put Jake Paul to try to do the same thing he's doing today, in the 90s, he doesn't make it. He doesn't make it. Okay, he will never
probably
even
not, man.
sniff. No, of course not. Of course not.
Hey guys,
of course not. But he's built for the times.
Shit, I lost all the super chats here. Fucking crap. Okay, nah, this ain't good.
Super chat.
There were a few super chats. Hold on, maybe I can. No, they disappeared. Fuck. All right, you guys keep
We
talking.
appreciate your contributions, and we do apologize for not acknowledging it earlier.
Yeah, thanks for that PR move, Jay. I really fucked up. I don't know. Usually I have like a list here. Fuck. Anyways, guys, thanks for the super chats. Yeah, I fucked up. Anyways, what was I gonna say? All right, so you guys, maybe you don't have. Well, obviously you have an issue. Hold on, Truth Son, thank you for your contribution. He says, agree with Jimmy. Jake Paul fans, not boxing fans. That's a good point. Now, when in the past or any time in boxing, when you have a big fight, you have a group of hardcore fans that are watching, and you also have another part of those fans that are casuals, right? Like for example, when Ali used to fight, he used to do big numbers. You can't tell me all those fans were hardcore fans, right? Right. So we do need casual fans, right? Or do we
But it was
disagree with that?
cultural event too, though. Boxing was so huge, it was cultural.
Right. So
Well,
isn't
Jimmy's
this
right,
making it cultural, Jimmy? Isn't this event unfortunately making this is the current culture in which we live in?
Well, again, if it was just a regular fucking dude, but then you got to look at the fact that the kid has 20.3 million subscribers on YouTube. So if he only sold 1 million, yeah, dude, 20.3 subscribers. So he only sold 1 million. So that means 19 million of his subscribers didn't even get involved. So percentage-wise, is it really that good? Yeah, the dude's got 20 million subscribers.
So this is not, this is the new culture, man. This is
did about 10. He did less than 10% of his subscriber base in views and buys. Excuse me.
So he's not even selling big numbers amongst his fucking subscriber base. It's not pulling in fucking boxing fans. That's a damn sure. You can go on Twitter to see that.
So you don't. So the issue here is that we don't want to call this event a boxing event because it wasn't a boxing event.
Was it sanctioned by boxing? Was it sanctioned by any boxing committees? Or
I think. I mean,
sanctioning
it was
bodies?
sanctioned. Yeah, I think it was a professional fight.
So
You mean a
is it-
sanctioning
so-
body? You mean a sanctioning body? No. Well, I don't know.
It was a YouTube personality selling boxing, basically.
Maybe, but just like with Mayweather, McGregor, if somebody's sanctioned, the belt doesn't have to be on a line for it to be a sanctioned fight. Wherever it took place, there's a sanctioning body there. They could
the
have still
athletic
sanctioned
commission.
the fight, it'd been a legitimate fight.
Yeah, the athletic commission. Obviously, I mean, if he's a professional fighter, it was accepted by the athletic commission of that state. So
now I'm hearing Tyson Fury's entertaining the idea of fighting like a mixed martial artist.
Yeah, he is sanctioned. All 3 of his fights were sanctioned. He's on BoxRec. He's he's a professional fighter. He's on BoxRec now at 3-0. So my point now, so he's a professional boxer. It's what it is just a unique thing for the first time ever. A true cultural celebrity is become a boxer. So he's famous before becoming a boxer. When does that fame? When does it level off? When does his boxing part of it start having to force him to fight boxers? And when that will end is the first time he gets slept.
Yeah, of course. And they might try to milk this. Yeah, but isn't this good though? I mean, in a sense that you have a celebrity like him who has a lot of followers taking this seriously. Taking this seriously and actually, he's taking it. He's a boxer in a sense. I mean, he hasn't fought anybody, but
here's the thing, Bucho. I hear this trickle down effect. This trickle down, effect of Jake Paul being in boxing, and I hear this from like hopeful boxing fans that are saying, excuse me, that are saying, well, if it's good for boxing because it'll give other fighters notoriety. When has that ever happened? So we don't know that, and I don't. And if I had to bet, Jake Paul's success as a boxer is not going to trickle down to other boxers. You either a guy like Canelo, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, guys like that. You're either that kind of guy or you're not. You know what I'm saying? Canelo didn't become famous because of some fucking YouTube star. He became famous because he fought Floyd Mayweather. He kept fighting and he fought some big fights that he won. That's how he became a star, right? And so this whole thing that is good for boxing and that it's going to translate to, Teofimo Lopez becoming a big star. I doubt that very much. Teofimo Lopez is going to become a big star because he makes it happen. If that was to happen,
he gets some exposure though.
Yeah.
I mean, right? He's
what
fighting in the undercard. He knocks this guy out.
Really,
yeah.
Anybody really interested in that Jake Paul fans are interested in Teofimo Lopez?
Yeah. So that's what you're questioning the transition from becoming a not even a casual boxing fan, just not a fan of boxing at all. Then all of a sudden transitioning to a maybe casual boxing fan level. That's the question. Like, is that even possible just by watching this event?
I don't think so.
The thing is,
Right, Stu.
sorry,
Stu.
The thing is, sorry, recognize. Do you want to carry on?
No, go ahead, Stu. I'm sorry, I was finished.
No, I mean the thing is, boxing never does itself any favors. Every time it's had an opportunity where it's had the public focusing on it, it's failed to deliver. Well, most occasions. There's a few times where it hasn't, but most occasions. And Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, I think, hurt boxing massively. I don't care what anyone says. That fight really hurt boxing, and it's still suffering to this day. I mean, the numbers just switched off after that. You had so many people intrigued in this fight for years. It was actually keeping people quite interested in boxing that were casuals. Pacquiao, Mayweather thing, everyone knew who they were. And then when they got it on, I mean, even in the UK, I couldn't believe on my Facebook the amount of girls I was seeing that got together and had drinks and ordered the fight. And this is 4 o'clock in the morning in the UK. Women that I never even thought liked boxing. They got into it. Everyone in the UK got into it. Kind of imagine how it was in America too. And what did they do? They both stunk the fucking joint out. And the next day, when I went on Facebook, what were these women saying? Well, a few of them were saying what a pussy Floyd Mayweather is for holding
exactly.
And
I was, Stu, I was there.
I was recognized. The others were saying they're never going to watch or pay for boxing again. So this is how bad this fight hurt boxing. I don't care what anyone says.
Stu, I witnessed it. I witnessed this. Like I watched the fight at a friend's house. We a lot of us got together to watch the fight. There was a lot of girls there, cute girls and shit. And all the girls were like they were just disappointed. They were confused more than anything. They're like, these guys are like, especially with Mayweather, like, he's a great fighter. I'm like, well, yeah. They were like, he ran.
That's what these girls were saying. These girls were saying to me, recognise, hang on a minute, I thought this Floyd Mayweather's meant to be the best.
Yeah.
They don't look. Girls don't understand holding it and fighting on the back foot and running in occasions. Look, Floyd's the best ever at defensive skills for me. I mean, it's just he's just so far advanced to anyone when it comes to defensive skills. He sort of reads shots before they've been thrown, and that's his skill, and that's why he barely gets hit. But they don't understand that. They want to see fists flying, and all they saw was Manny stalking Floyd most of the fight, but doing nothing himself. So Manny's just as much to blame for me, because when he did get inside Floyd, he had a chance to let his hands go and didn't. He'd throw a couple, and then when he did hurt Floyd, he backed off, sort of thing. It was just horrible from start to finish, and it really hurt boxing. I don't care what anyone says, even the most hardcore Pacquiao fan. If he's a true boxing fan, will even admit that himself.
So the numbers played out. The numbers play in your favor.
Anyway, I even told people when the fight was announced, don't buy it, because I knew the stage that they were at and what was going to happen. But pulling this back around to what Jake Loco, whichever Paul we're talking about, and this Triller thing. Is it good for boxing? It's good for Paul. And it's good for him to launch himself off of for whatever he's going to do next. And if he wants to take this seriously to at least get to the low-level Bridger weight title, because it's probably the weight class he's going to fight at, and he finally can win a title in a soft division, then congratulations for him for taking the sport seriously at a late age and proving the odds wrong, because the odds are not in his favor. He's going to accomplish anything great. But as far as what this does for boxing, it does nothing. It didn't pull any boxing fans. It's not going to pull any extra boxing fans. Mm-hmm. They may be doing Teofimo Lopez coming up soon, but I think they're trying to, from what I'm seeing, they're an entertainment company. So they're pulling up boxing. They're pulling up music. They're pulling up all this different stuff. And right now, Lopez being the young guy, being of this era and this generation, they're trying to use him as much as he's using them. And we'll see if it pays off.
Now, at the end of the day, just quickly, at the end of the day, I mean, the focus of this event, whether, I know there's music and there's slap fighting, whatever, but at the end of the main event is a boxing fight, right? A sanctioned boxing fight. So,
well, you got one boxer versus a guy who's a wrestler.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's a boxing fight. Like it's Queensberry
it is a boxing
rules.
event. I agree.
Right. So, would it be possible for some kids to actually like get into the sport just because they're watching a boxing fight and seeing two guys duke it out?
Exactly. No, you're right, dude. There's got to be some kids, right, who got excited from seeing people knocked out. But I just wanted to say one thing to that kid Bullwhip who called to tell us that we're all misogynistic men because we don't want to see change.
Which is true.
So can I just can I? Yeah. No. Listen. Can I address that? Well, what does he feel about? I don't know if he's Sofa. What does he feel about the fact a couple of weeks ago Jake Paul grabbed that 18-year-old TikTok girl Justin Pradine when she said she didn't want to have sex and fucking basically skull fucked her.
Yeah,
but is that true though? Is that true?
The thing is, though, yeah, but Jimmy,
I mean, who knows?
She. The thing is, all right, fair enough. That could have happened, but then why did she go back a few years later and give him another fucking blow?
No, but I'm saying the point though,
Mike Tyson getting fucked.
Hey,
Yeah,
one girl goes to the same rape scene twice. I mean, come on, man, get out of here.
Maybe yes, maybe no. We don't know.
Wasn't that just recently?
Girls are fucking dangerous, bro. Some of these girls out there are dangerous.
But my point being, if this is the type of kid he is,
Jimmy,
I wouldn't be surprised though, Jimmy. But I mean, we don't know.
So this kid's calling us misogynistic and stuff like that. Okay, we want women to be naked in the kitchen or something like that. I'm paraphrasing what he said. These are not my words. Well, from what I heard during one of the shows, some girl's grinding up on a guy, and he keeps yelling "bitch, bitch, bitch" the whole time. I got a daughter.
Bitch.
I got a daughter. You think I want her watching that shit?
Of course not.
He's a fucking idiot, right? This guy's a fucking idiot.
You're right, but that flips back on the misogynistic part. You don't have a kid, dumbass. So before you start making these calls, try to grow up and have a life, and then come back and judge me.
I want these guys to have a daughter. I want these guys to have a daughter so bad.
Yeah, but
daughters change everything, right?
Can I just get in here quickly? The thing is, right, boxing should be in a place where they shouldn't even care about what Jake Paul's doing on the side. Why does it matter? Boxing should be in a place where Jake Paul is small fish. You know what I mean? But it's not the fact that we're talking about it is how low boxing has become. I mean, really is when
that's the thing, Stu. This is for me, this is the real topic. The fact that boxing, because it's so full of shit, and Kevin from Chicago is right. He's right about one thing, a few things, but he's right that these professional boxers sell us shit. They sell us shit, right? Every once in a while, a big fight lives up to the hype. I could think of a few. Canelo versus Gennady Golovkin in the second fight, right? Whether you like the decision or not, that the fight in the ring was excellent. I remember watching it with my nephews and his friends, and they were like, man, these guys they gave us a war. They fought. You know what I'm saying? So there are fights that do live up to expectations. But then we get these shitty fights where the best fighters in the world are fighting guys who will have no chance against them. And sometimes we get shitty decisions that say, I don't like boxing.
Yeah, so here's an example recognised, right? In the UK, I mean, the Klitschko-Joshua fight, it sort of stole the headlines. It was a massive occasion. Everyone sort of like bought into it. And I think while the momentum was there, that's when Joshua should have gone and fought Wilder. I think it would have pushed boxing even further in the UK and made Joshua even a bigger star. But he started fighting the Tackhams and the Parkers, and people started to like. He's still got a big fan base, but people started to switch off. For the people that were watching before are not watching anymore. If you get a lot of them, because they want to see Klitschko in there again. They don't want to see Takam, and they don't want to see Parker. You know what I mean? And I think that's a problem with boxing. They just don't build on momentum. They'll have a big occasion where everyone gets. Even Fury Wilder 2 was a massive occasion. The Americans got behind that. The media.
Yep.
I mean, they should have built on that. but we're still like, how long ago was that now? Wilder's not
Over
been
a
in the
year.
ring since.
Yeah.
Over a year.
If Wilder's not been in the ring since. Fury, no, it's Fury, has he? I mean, no, Fury hasn't either. I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute fucking joke. And then, I mean, look, Joshua's not really doing his part. He's made his money, but yet he still wants to go and make loads more money. But in Saudi Arabia now, he's the British. He's got what he needed to get out of the British fans. Now last time to move on. I mean, I don't like that. Help build the sport in this country. That's what these guys got to do. That as giving back. Anthony Joshua has made so much money. His grandchildren are going to live a good life. Yeah, give something back to the UK that made you a star. Because without us, you're a fucking nobody. You'll be selling your £10 weed bags in Watford still. So you're then I don't like the boxers don't help build this sport. They're very selfish, narcissistic. It's all about them. Even Floyd Mayweather. What's Floyd Mayweather done for this young generation of American fighters that were boxing? All he does is steal the head, still the shine off him in the press conferences and make it all about him. I mean, he didn't want to help all these fighters. He's not going to get up and train with the fighters. I mean, look, selfish generation of fighters that we're dealing with now that don't want to help the younger generation through. And I can't wait for most of them to retire and get the fuck out of this sport so we can have these young, hungry lions that are coming through from America and the UK and the Eastern Bloc around Europe and Asia as well. There's some real good young fighters coming through. Let these kids shine and see if they can try and build boxing, because this generation have had their chance and they've fucking failed miserably. They're divas. They're a lot of them just don't care about the sport. They blow up in weight.
That's why I respect Vladimir
Dance
Klitschko.
around in nightclubs, acting like fucking idiots, doing
Amen to both of
homosexual
you.
things with
This
their
is
mates.
why I give
Get out of here, man. Sick of
Hey,
this
Stu, this
generation.
is why I give a guy like Vladimir Klitschko a lot of credit, right? Vladimir Klitschko was in the ending. He was in the back end of his career. I mean, the very back end, and he hasn't had a fight since. And he fought Joshua. He went in there and said, "I'm gonna fight Joshua," and gave an exciting effort, right? Okay, he got stopped and he lost the fight, but he gave it an exciting fight. I mean, he had success in that fight. Guys like that are unselfish fighters. What they do is they say, "Okay, there's a new guy making noise. I'm on the back end. Let me fight him. Let's see what happens." And a lot of these fighters are not doing that. This is why I also respect Manny Pacquiao. Because say what you want, he did fight Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman could have beat him. You never know, right? He's a little bit off beat that night.
The problem, Manny Pacquiao tried to pass the torch so many times, just they weren't good enough to fucking grab it. That's the problem.
That's
That's not his fault.
Yeah,
So,
that's not his fault.
It's a bit like the WWE, isn't it? Like when these experienced wrestlers hand the torch over to these young ones. You have to agree to lose to one of these upcoming stars for the fan base to build on, that sort of thing. And I'm not saying boxers should agree to lose, no way. But what I'm saying is you should give these young fighters an opportunity to try and beat you, to try and make a name for themselves, because that's how young fighters become big stars. Like Teofimo Lopez. Did many people know who he was before he beat Lomachenko? Not really.
No,
you know what I mean?
really.
So that's how you do it. But these fighters don't want to know. They're ducking all these young lions. They're ducking most fighters, to be honest with you. They're finding these cans from the garbage trucks and they're putting them in there with these world-class fighters. It's just stinking and no one wants to watch it. And they have to cheat to charge $80 for it as well. Come on, man, boxing's a joke.
Oh, go ahead, babe.
No, Jay, go ahead, Jay.
So, you were making these comments about passing the torch and everything else like that. And I saw Sean Porter's page the other day. And this kind of puts things in perspective to me that he's no different than the rest of us, as much praise as he gets. Now, I'm not trying to smash Sean Porter. A lot of guys think that I do. But here's what he was saying. He was saying, when I was up and coming, and there was Mayweather, and there was Pacquiao, and there was Andre Berto, who was still like a regional champion at the time, and I wanted to fight all these guys. And they were saying, no, I'm not going to fight you. You got to come get it. And now Jaron Ennis and Virgil Hill are doing the same thing. And he himself said, I understand what those guys mean now, because I'm not going to go out there and fight those guys unless there's something big involved. A paraphrase, not a direct quote, but a paraphrase of his. He should be wanting to fight these guys to see if he can expose them, especially since he doesn't have too much time left on the clock to try and never win a title again. But he's going to sit back and just say, nope, I'd rather not get paid. I'm not going to fight you guys. And not help the sport, and it's actually made him a millionaire.
because he's trying to what he's saying is like even a guy like himself who he probably values himself as a man of character, of good character, and he's probably saying, look, man, even myself, when I wasn't getting these opportunities, now that I'm in that same situation, I'm not going to take this fight unless it's worth it, because there are other big fights where I can make bigger money against guys like Terrence Crawford or Manny Pacquiao.
That's a good point. He's not going to get $2 million to fight this Duran Ennis or
right.
Virgil Ortiz right now. So that's
he's saying, look, what he's saying, Jay, is basically that he's a bit of a hypocrite. That's what he's saying. He's a bit of a hypocrite.
Yeah,
that was my point.
You've got to blame the fighters here, because name the best fighters of this generation, right? How many of them, even the retired ones, how many of them are in boxing today, helping some of these young kids come through, just giving them some sort of advice, do you know what I mean? Just none of them. They don't want to know. They're nowhere to be seen. I mean, the generation before that. Look at them fighters. You saw them in boxing to the day they died. I mean, fucking hell. Was it Archie Moore that become a ref? Do you know what I mean? People, they're always in boxing, always passing their knowledge on. These guys they're narcissists. It's all about them. They don't care about anything but anyone but themselves. And this is hurting boxing, because for a sport to build, you've got to be like fucking. You've got to pass the torch on to the next generation in a good state. And let's be real. I mean, and this generation have been paid more than most, probably the highest paid generation of fighters.
Look at Mayweather. Look at Mayweather and Tank. Yeah. How many of you think he's helped Tank more than he's hurt him?
Absolutely hurt him.
I just want to say that I found it interesting that the show's supposed to be on Triller, and we're supposed to give our opinions on that, which we did. But now we moved on to shitting on boxing. So it's like,
because boxing,
yeah, it's box. Yeah, exactly.
Stu said it best. If boxing was
Jake
doing his
Paul
job,
everything you need to know.
Yeah,
well, exactly.
I was going to say that, Stu. What you just said, you made that point earlier. Boxing was doing its job. These things wouldn't be, these circus acts wouldn't be. It wouldn't really have a place. It wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's
right after,
but this is why it's so important. Yeah, but this is why it's so important, right? To build a sport, you have to have the best against the best. Every other sport, you have it. You get tennis in the final. You usually get the best. Football, you can't just choose who you're playing. You have to play who you get drawn out to play. There's no hiding from anyone. But boxing is the only sport where you can pick and choose your opponents and then argue about whether you're the best or not without proving it. I mean, it's just a joke.
Someone in the chat still is saying we love boxing.
There needs to be some governing body. Jay, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
Well, you said, let's get to the guy in the chat first, and then I'll say my piece.
No, it's fine. Fine.
Okay, so when the pandemic was starting to break and we're starting to get fights again, there's a streaming show that I used to follow, or I still follow, called The Boxing Rate. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. But they were talking about the whole thing, about how these cards are being put together, and people are salivating for boxing, and they were putting on substandard cards. And the response from the promotional company, who I don't remember was mentioned, said, "Hey, you're lucky you're getting boxing at all." I mean, are you serious? That's your response to the fans that are paying you? We should bow down to you and just be grateful that you're giving us shit instead of actually trying to put something together after we've been trapped in our houses. The entire world's been trapped in their houses for 4 months. This is the best you can do. We should be thanking you for this. And that's the mentality of the business as well as the fighters. It's not just the fighters saying this, it's the companies themselves. On that note, guys, my battery's about to die, so I'm going to have to peace out. But thank you for having me on. And
no
you
problem.
guys take care.
Take care.
Peace, Jay.
It's all right. So, yeah. It's bad. This is where boxing is right now. And you guys are right. I mean, if boxing was doing great, if it was good, no, we wouldn't be talking about this garbage, this circus. They wouldn't have any.
And remember, bullshit decisions.
All the foundations are there for boxing to thrive. Yeah, it doesn't want to. Every other sport's thriving. Well, some of the American sports probably not so much because they're social justice warrior.
Oh, they're doing terrible.
Oh, NBA is doing bad.
They're doing terrible.
Go broke in it. But most sports are thriving. But boxing, I mean, on the outside,
Mm.
it looks like it's doing well, but when you're a true boxing fan, you're looking on the inside, it's struggling. It's bad. I mean, look.
Hey, Stu.
I mean, I'll tell
American
you how
sports are
bad
doing
boxing is.
bad
You've
right
got
now.
Oscar De La Hoya doing a comedy act on a Jake Paul card. I mean, it's just this is where we are. Where this used to be one of the best promoters in boxing. By the way, I've said it before. Who had most of the talent in America, and it's become where he's sitting next to some nobodies, coked out of his face, chatting garbage, watching a shit fight. I mean, and that's because there's boxing. It's Eddie Hearn, Heyman, and Bob run the show, and if and that's where it's got to start. You got to be able to have an open field for everyone to get involved. I mean, look, you can't have Eddie Hearn running the show all the time and Heyman, because that's when you're getting fighters ducking each other because two promoters don't like each other, so they won't agree to it's ridiculous. So because two promoters don't like each other, don't do business, don't like doing it means the fight can't happen. No, put all that shit aside and get the fight done, and then
Corruption in boxing will not get you fans for sure. When a casual is watching a fight, they get a bullshit decision. Doesn't matter if the fighter was exciting, whatever the case may be. That's not gonna do it. So that's a lot of that has to do with obviously with the promoters and the networks and this fucking political stance that they want to take. So a guy that they like a little bit more, they're gonna give him the nod. Boxing fans and casuals both hate that. Okay, the only difference is the hardcore fan is still gonna stick with it because he loves the technique of boxing. He loves the art form. But casual's gonna be like, man, fuck this shit. I don't want to watch that.
Exactly. Listen, it takes years to understand the sweet science. You're not just going to understand boxing by watching your first fight on Sky Sports. I mean, you're looking. All you're seeing is two men throwing hands and trying to fight each other. You don't understand the back foot stuff. You don't understand holding at the right times, and it can be really tedious. Tedious on the eye. Some of these fights. Let's be real. I'm a hardcore boxing fan. I think I am, and I can barely watch some of these fights where it's just too much holding. I think we need to get a grip of this holding. I think this holding is not helping the sport. I think obviously you got to hold at certain times. I know that we've got to get the balance right though, because you're watching far too many fights these days where. And that's what's turning the casuals off. I mean, let's be real. If you're turning on to watch your first ever fight and you watched Andrade the other night, what are you really going to be in a hurry to watch that again?
Of course not.
Yeah. It's a turn off. It's boring basically. But do people actually have to understand or fully understand the sport of boxing to actually be interested in it? You know what I mean? I was talking about Muhammad Ali, and tons of people were watching him, and a lot of them, I mean, they didn't know that much about boxing, but they tuned in because he was that big, that popular. So they were doing something right.
We're not experts. We're not claiming to be experts, right? But we've been around the sport long enough to understand it. I mean, does it make you an expert because you understand something? No. But look, a lot of people don't. They think it's just a fight. There's more to boxing than just being a fight. I mean, I know we like to use that word, it's a fight, but it's a lot more to it. And look, even being out of shape, a casual wouldn't even know how a fighter, even being a few pounds overweight or not, cut corners in camps, little things like that, they wouldn't understand that, but we do. And we know that can be the difference between winning a fight and losing. So there's so much to boxing that these won't understand. So
Stu, what's the essence?
You've got to make it so they do understand it. You've got to put on the show. You've got to go and take chances, let your hands go. And
Stu, what's the essence?
There's nothing more that gets the adrenaline going. There's nothing more that gets it gets me going than watching a good brawl in a ring where two guys are just going toe to toe, landing world class shots. It's just nothing better to watch, but we just don't see enough of it.
But what's the essence of boxing? I mean, yes, there's technique and there's all this, but at the end of the day,
there's so much to
two guys fighting.
I don't think anyone can answer that question. I don't think anyone can answer that because there's so much. I mean, there's not one person on this planet that knows everything about boxing. Because there's so much to boxing.
No,
I mean, I
but
don't know. It's what you like, but it's what you like, isn't it? I mean, but at the end of the day, there's far more to boxing than just throwing your hands.
right,
Well,
but
look, look. Let's take for example, Chocolatito versus Estrada, right? When they fought, that was such a good fight. It was very close. But when you get a fucking judge that sees the fight in a total different way than most people that are watching it, what do you think that does to like even boxing fans, us? What do you think that does? It's like saying we're not on the same page. What you saw, what the majority of you saw, is not what we saw. Okay, so it's like, okay, this is not even being judged the right way according to us.
do you think that's a turnoff? Do you think that's why people are turning away from the sport?
Absolutely.
But let me tell. Okay, but the thing is, we've had corruption for the longest of time in boxing, and yet people still were watching in the 90s. So why didn't in the 90s? Why didn't they get fed up in the 90s?
Don King was the most corrupt motherfucker in the history of
And
boxing.
people
But bring him
still
back. He put on
watched.
the best fight we've ever seen.
And
Bring him
people
back.
still watched. I don't buy this shit about the. I mean, yes, the corruption is a turnoff, but I mean, if you like in the 90s.
What I mean, it doesn't hurt the star, Bucho. It doesn't hurt the star. What about the guy who's on the come up, who actually won the fight? He goes in there, he wins that fight, or he's a guy on the rebound, whatever the case may be. He actually won the fight, and then they take it away from him. So what it says to like average boxing fans is like, so the game is rigged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we're talking about. I mean, yeah, but how does that affect the fans? I mean, the fans are gonna still watch. They're gonna complain about it.
No, well, not really, because once a sport becomes rigged, right? It has a reputation of being rigged. What you start doing is, okay, guys like us, we get older. Our what we like today changes constantly. Okay, then you get the newer fans. You get these newer fans. They're like, I'm not interested in that. That's a rigged sport. Right, and all you're gonna get is bandwagon fans. Those fans, they die out pretty quick. Go to a party, right, where everybody's like, "Oh, I'm celebrating whoever." At a certain time, everybody starts leaving. Right, so it's not the same. You don't have the same vibe anymore. And you throw that party again. Maybe those guys that showed up the first time, they're not gonna show up for the second time. They already been to that. They already been to that circus, and they don't really care. Okay.
Now, do you know another thing? Recognize, I don't think it's helping. These undercards. I mean, half the time they put me to sleep before the fucking main events even on it. I mean,
they're terrible.
I mean, it just
guys, I think
your appetite going, does it? When you're watching some fucking bum in there, some trying to survive.
Exactly.
I mean,
well, what about Mike Tyson? I mean, hold on, guys. This is the thing, though. Mike Tyson. I know this is an extreme example. This is the one that everybody goes to, but I mean, he was knocking people out. You know, there was corruption at that time, obviously in the sport, because there's always been corruption. Yet people tuned in to see Mike fucking Tyson because he was putting in the hurt. Because in my opinion, the essence of boxing is that it's a fight. It's a fight. Guys with trunks, shirtless, with only trunks and gloves, and it's only two guys in the ring, and the referee obviously, and then they duke it out. That's boxing.
Mike Tyson became massive star. I mean, look, Mike Tyson was one of the most famous people in the world. Well, I'm telling you now, he was. Everyone knew who Tyson. My mum even said my mum doesn't even like boxing, but she said, "I don't like boxing. I like that fucking Tyson. He's an animal." Because she remembers him. No, she remembers him just knocking people the fuck out, and that's what people want to see. You know, people
that's
don't
boxing.
remember Larry Holmes like they should, because we all know Larry Holmes is a all-time great. But my mum don't remember Larry Holmes. No, because she remembers Tyson, because he used to come in with them black shorts and them shoes on, looking like a fucking animal, and he used to knock people out, and that's what everyone wants to see. That, so that's what made him a star. And I just don't. We've not really had a Tyson. Even Lennox Lewis, as great as he was, just didn't have nowhere near the fan base or the clout that Tyson had.
Okay, we had Manny Pacquiao, who transcended the sport. Why was he so popular? He wasn't even an American.
He was so exciting, bro.
Exactly.
Same thing with Triple G. Same thing with
I was gonna mention that.
Came in. Yep.
Yeah.
And listen, can I just tell you something, BDA? I don't know if you, Bucho, I don't know if you saw those pictures I sent. The reason why that lower picture is attached to him, Discord wouldn't even allow me to send MMA pictures. They said it because they're too racy. Imagine that. They wouldn't even let me send the picture by themselves. So that tells you when the question is like, I mean, look, you can see those pitches. I mean, come on. To me, that's why I will never get into MMA. I don't want my face in another dude's crotch. Ever.
Jesus Christ.
MMA, yeah, it's just MMA is one for me where I'll watch a big fight, but that's about it. I just can't get into it. I can't. I think
Me
they've
too.
let the ground. I think they've let the ground game sort of like ruin what the UFC was, started for, and that was like all sorts of styles, getting in there and fighting. But the UFC is built around wrestlers for me. It's all built around wrestlers to fucking grab someone on the floor, do nothing for 3 minutes. And then, they have to change that to get more people on time. Look, they're doing all right.
Can I just, before we get into the who UFC, I just going back to the popular boxers and how people can join the sport or get interested in the sport is you need exciting fighters. And Jimmy mentioned Triple G, and yes, Triple G. Look at this guy. He's not American. He didn't speak. He's little English. He spoke little English, and then he was fighting consistently 3 times a year and knocking people out. And he started to make a name of himself. So this is what boxers need to do. We have Errol Spence, who after the Kell Brook win, he disappears off the map.
Yeah.
Fighters don't build on momentum.
We blame it on racism.
How long have I been telling you? How long have I been telling you now? These fighters are not building on momentum when they have a good performance and they start making the headlines. They'll go missing for 7-8 months and then fight some fucking nobody. I mean, you've got to build on momentum, and they don't do it, mate. For these fighters, I can't wait for all of them to hang up the gloves. I just wouldn't care if they all hung them up tomorrow and let the younger generation come through. The Virgil Ortizes, the Conor Benn, especially because 147 division. I hate that division with a passion. It's just a diva. Sean Porter is the only man that deserves any sort of credit in that division.
Well, I used to think that Teofimo Lopez was one of the young directors.
Him and Manny Pacquiao, of course, as well. But Manny Pacquiao.
But what I mean is like Teofimo Lopez, man. I don't like the way the direction he's going. You know what I mean? What he did.
What happens is they get a big win. They get a big win. Like let's say Earl Spence, he beats Kell Brook, and next thing you know, I'm finding out he's an alcoholic. It's like I don't care about this shit. I don't care about you having a social life, and that's more important than what you do in the fucking ring. And I like Earl Spence. I do like him, but it's like after he had that fight, it's like now I'm finding out he likes to go out and drink and hang out with rappers and dude, I don't give a fuck about that. But what does he do? He appeals to these younger kids that are on social media that probably follow him, and this is what they're more entertained about, and so the value of boxing itself loses. It starts like losing its identity of who Earl Spence really is. So people go, oh, that's that guy on Instagram that knows how to box. No,
with Errol Spence, it's ideological, dude. I'm just calling it how it is. It's broken down by racial lines. Mainly, it's the black PBC fans. Stand by no matter what that side of the fence does, and because he really doesn't have a big his Instagram page has got small following. He actually has small following imprint across. Somebody sent me a Google thing. He's actually doesn't have a big social media imprint at all. But my point being, he can get away with what he does because the people who back him. I mean, look at his fans. Regardless of what you want to think about Crawford and him, it's his fan base that argues for the fight not to happen. They're the ones coming up for all excuses why it shouldn't happen. Oh, he needs to come to PBC. He needs to fucking do this. He needs to fucking you know what I mean? It's
Jimmy, I don't even feel an energy. I don't even feel like these boxers have energy in the sense that, if I was Errol Spence, and I know that people want to see me fight Crawford and we can't get that fight done for some reason. If I was Errol Spence, I would be like, you know what? I can't get the Terence Crawford fight, but fans, I'm telling you, I'm going to be fighting 3 times a year, or I'm going to be fighting, the best next thing after Crawford. And I promise you, he doesn't even say it. He just, we can't get the fight done, drinking, don't do it. Like, that's it. Like, what kind of message?
Say the truth, dude.
Send a message.
They can't even make a fucking,
send a message.
They can't even talk to a manager, dude, without Heyman's permission. T Street Controversy got a hold of a PBC contract and read it from beginning to end. And right in it, it says explicitly, Fighter A, well, Simon Heyman, shall not even enter negotiation, even verbally, with another fighter without Al Heyman's written consent.
Well, there you have it. That's why nobody calls
So
nobody
this is
out.
all bullshit, dude. It's all bullshit. They're in-house fighters. He's got a fucking. He's trying to make. He's still going that route. So this is all that Charlo talking about. He's going to fight this one, this one. No, it's whoever Al Heyman tells him to fight.
Terrible.
End of story. It's in their contract that way too.
Well, these boxers signed they lost their souls. They sold their souls to the fucking devil, and that's pretty much it. I mean, but again, it's these boxers. It's like they don't have any energy. They don't care about the fans.
That's the truth. They don't have, like you said, Bucho. They don't have this energy to be great. Like, I want to go in there and prove to the world that, you know, Terrence Crawford is not on my level. Well, then prove it. Prove that he's not on your level. And the same thing for Crawford. And I've always said, look, I don't like. I know there's more to it, and there's people that disagree with me with what's going on with Spence and Crawford. Just for example, and I don't pretend to know all the details. I listen to guys like Jimmy. I listen to whoever. But this is what I would say: the visual, the audio and visual effect is not good when the guy's like, 80-20. I make more. I don't care, bro. As a boxing fan, I don't give a fuck about that. I want to know if you guys are gonna fight, so we can see who's better.
The only people who actually are showing energy are the ones in the lightweight division. You know, Ryan Garcia and all these guys. But you can tell they're talking shit. But I will see. Maybe it's still early. But everybody else, most boxers, just disappointing, man. They're talking about like recognize it 20, 80-20. I'm making more money. I don't know. It's just disgusting, guys. We should end the show. Yeah, we'll do another show on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that.
I had a fantastic time.
Yeah,
fantastic.
All right, guys, take care. We'll see you next time.
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to my brother Gonzalo.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody go donate to our brother Gonzalo. He needs our donations right now. You know, let's send our prayers to him and his son, his wife, his family.
Yeah, Gonzalo has a GoFundMe account, so make sure you send the money to that GoFundMe account. All right? There's a link, his GoFundMe account. And I want to thank GB Gorthy for his contribution. He says, shout out to the best boxing podcast out there. Thank you for listening, GB. Thank you for listening. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us.
For recognizing Jimmy, don't forget, like, check out articles and shit like that on about especially the most sensational news you can find, so we can talk about it on Second Running.
Oh, you got it. I got one.
Fantastic.
I'll let you guys know off air. I'll send you a text.
All right, guys. On YouTube, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Take care.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Disappointed in everyone.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in everyone.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Lobito. Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.